want to do a podcast about films.
What, American Made?
Don't be stupid. Nobody's ever heard of it.
Yeah, it's a shame we've just recorded it then.
But why should people listen?
We got a good game.
We can play along at home.
Not really.
No. Well, we do slot in a couple of new items.
Dicks.
Well, yeah, but also the classics collection and movie hybrids.
Yeah, we've got rid of the jerkers, and now it's just straight up dick chat.
Yeah. Enjoy, people. Hello and welcome to Movie the Needle, a podcast where a pair of amateurs haphazardly dissect a film that one of us likes and one, well, not so much. My name's Simon and I'm in our shed with my good friend Carl, where we'll be explaining our opposing viewpoints and seeing whether we can movie the needle for one another. This week, we return to Carl's one true love, Tom Cruise, for his 2017 follow-up to The Mummy, as he plays Barry Seal, an American pilot who became a clandestine drug runner for the CIA. Zero-G sexy time and truth-stretching ensues. It's American Made!
Couple of observations for you.
Oh, all right, we're straight in it. Okay,
Yep.
Go for it, yeah.
If TC is my one true love,
Oh, yeah.
how are we squaring that with the Bond fanboy thing?
He is a
above Bond?
person, so you can love a person as your
Right.
one true love.
Okay.
But you can still be a Bond fanboy. It's fine.
All right, okay, they're compatible. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, you're fine.
Did you drop the idiots thing because we might have had a compliment?
No, it wasn't mine, but yeah, I figured I'd got the legs out of it that they were there. But yeah, we actually got a nice comment, which was nice, and not from someone we knew, which was even nicer.
Yeah, I was thinking about that at some point. We'll call it out and then we'll go, oh, bloody Robbie.
Oh, Robbo.
It's Robbo. Yeah, of course. Or it'll be someone we do know, one of their mates who just start listening to this.
Yeah.
Rather than
Listen
like
to
an
this would be
organic.
nice to them because they're starting to cry when they're recording.
The negative comments are really getting to Simon. So will you please leave a comment as well? So
Quite frankly, it's bringing down the whole pod. The mood is somewhat gone down. So can you just help him out?
Yeah. But we did get a real comment. That was good, wasn't it?
It is nice, yeah. Just remember, people, if you listen to this, you can just leave a comment. It's fine. Just do it. I'm sure it's good for the old stats and gets us up there. So just do it.
Well, I wasn't thinking about that. I mean, that is true.
Also, just say if you like it. That's good
No,
too.
I don't care. Well, I mean,
So if you don't like it?
It's all true that what you've just said. But I like the comment because he actually gave us his thoughts on the movie.
Well, that is true as well. Yeah. And they were good thoughts.
They were good thoughts.
Yeah.
And
I was just like,
yeah, I was right.
That's very succinctly put.
So, that was nice too, wasn't it?
well, I didn't know who he was talking about because he said he enjoyed the take. And then he said he'd always seen it as this. So he could have been saying he enjoyed my take. He has always seen it as, but now he's come around. He just
That's true,
ran
actually.
out of characters.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We'll never know.
It'd be weird though, wouldn't it, if he went, nice take, saying it was shit. I've always thought it was this quite deep thing.
Turns out I'm wrong.
It's possible, I suppose.
Yeah. Guess what, Carl?
Yes.
Got a game for you.
Which is good. Yeah,
It's
nice.
called American Made Up.
Now hang on. Is this just rebranded tag lies?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I was struggling, right? So I was struggling with a game. I was trying to do play on words, made, like made as in like a maid and an American maid and something made, something.
Yeah.
I was struggling. Couldn't get to anything. So then eventually, it's quite a rebranding of another game we've done before, but we've only done it once before, so I think it's fine.
Okay, all right.
And it's not tag lies. Tag lies,
fine.
just so you know, dear listeners, if tag lies appears, it means I'm been in a hurry.
Yes.
Haven't had a chance to actually give it any thought. Yeah. Phoning it in.
Definitely. Not just the game.
Indeed.
I don't think, just clearing out the pod notes folder, I don't think we've touched on this since you messaged me, but Christmas Rooster.
I put it on the socials, didn't I?
That was right, but you
Yeah.
did actually find...
Yes, so when I was over the Christmas period, in between Christmas and New Year, I think it was, walking past a local-ish butcher's in the next town along, and looked in the window, and what was there? An actual
The biggest Christmas
Christmas
rooster.
rooster for sale. Not just one, loads of the fuckers.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is... I genuinely thought someone was like punking me. It's just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Some elaborate con. Some elaborate long con.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So it is a thing. I apologise. You were right.
Well, I mean, I ridiculed myself,
The
to be fair.
funniest part of the whole of last year that I laughed at and still laugh at is now it's just mocking me.
Yes. Yeah, it's just got another layer to it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all.
just not as fun for me.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good.
Anything else in the old pod notes? Is that the only thing?
Well, you put something in, and I can't see it.
What do you mean?
So your message says...
Did it say for tonight?
For tonight.
Oh, okay.
And
It's
you're
just the scoring
quoting
system. It's the scoring system for the game. I thought it quoted a message that you'd be able to see.
Oh, I can't see the message that you've
fine.
quoted.
All right, well, we'll get to that in a interlude before the game happens, so you know what
Yeah,
you do.
okay.
But that's no problem. I played football at the weekend, Carl.
Oh, yeah, it was just your 2 hours.
2 hours of football. Survived. Just about.
Yeah.
The usual combination.
Still got it?
I mean...
Ever had it?
Yeah. more the latter.
Right, okay. No,
If my body could do what my brain thought it could do or wanted to do, I'd be decent.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not always the case, or unusually the case. But it was a
We're
good
still talking about
combination.
football,
Indeed, it was a good combination though of disgustingly late tackles causing injuries because again, for that aforementioned body not quite doing what head tells it to. So it was a bit of a scary moment as one of our number went down heavily with an injury, but managed to recover. And then memorable moments of someone rising like a salmon to clear the ball off a line with a very well placed lob. So yeah, good memories, all good. And I can walk, so even better.
Very good.
Yep. Did you see that the Razzie nominations had been announced?
No, it's Gladiator 2 in there.
It's not.
No?
No. Do you want to have a guess at what is the leading nominee from the films last year?
Have I seen it?
No.
Oh, then no, I don't want to guess. No.
Okay, fine. It's Joker, Folie à Deux.
Oh, okay.
7 noms. Yeah. The other ones that are nominated for the most and also for the worst picture, I don't think we've seen any of them. Well, actually, yeah, you might have seen one of them. Have you seen Megalopolis?
No, not yet.
Oh, so Megalopolis, 6 nominations. Reagan,
No.
Borderlands, and Madam Web.
That's quite a fall, isn't it, for Joker? I wonder if that's happened before, where a film sweeps up at the Oscars and the sequel is in for the Razzies.
We'll get the researchers on it.
Yes. Oh, dear.
You mentioned last week about the old Movie the Needle Classics collection.
Oh, no, I forgot to put some more thought into that. I have, some loose nominations, but I forgot to put some more thought into that.
Because we kind of spitballed a bit of some criteria, didn't we? I think
we did, yeah.
We're going to have to come back to that if you're not.
We'll do that in the data section,
Okay.
Because I think we also said, which we'll decide properly before we actually press record on that section, we also said we were going to ditch a couple of things, didn't we?
Yeah, I've ditched them, so that's good.
Oh, you actually have?
Yeah.
Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, decisive.
Bye-bye, Jerker.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, Tearjerker.
Tearjerker as well.
Yeah.
Because, we don't know what is tasteful and gratuitous nudity or not.
Yeah, why can't
Because really it's... and I'll cry at anything. So, so it's pointless. And then there's the tearjerker category.
Hey!
Woo! Yeah. So, yeah, no, they're...
Very good.
They're gone.
You've been watching some movies this week, I saw, on Letterboxd?
I've been watching a few movies, but before, I had one more thing.
Oh, okay, go on.
Which I thought was very fun. That my wife sent me today. She found my youngest is having a sleepover at some point.
Okay.
And a very proud dad moment because she's drawn up an itinerary.
for as in people are coming round, so she's drawn up an itinerary of how to
she's
keep them entertained.
So she's got the sleepover with, obviously, and then her mate. Number 1, play.
We got time frame?
No time frame.
Okay, it's just an order of...
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Number 2, play. Some more playing.
Yeah.
And number 3 is play.
Right.
And then number 4 is a break in proceedings.
Okay.
They're going to set up for bed.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, just turn the volume off on that.
Number 5?
Play.
Okay, yeah.
Back to play.
How many of the...
Number 6 is tea time.
Okay, right. Oh, we're only at tea time, Jesus.
Yeah, tea time. Number 7 is talk, which is I thought was interesting because that implies that to this point they've been playing in silence.
And also, after you've eaten, no talking with your mouth full.
Oh, well, Thank you very much. Yeah, it's reasonable, yeah. Number 8 is play. So only a bit of talking. Number 9, play. Number 10, lay in bed and talk before bed.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we're gearing up. We're gearing up for the evening now, for the night. 11, brush teeth.
Yeah.
Number 12, put on pyjamas.
Sure.
I mean, I'd switch those
maybe
around.
days at the start. Yeah,
I'd switch those around. It's up to her. She's a maverick. She doesn't play by the rules.
Yeah, it's an iterative process.
She plays by these rules.
This is version 1
that she's set out. Well, that's true as well.
Come on.
Number 13 is go to bed. ... Not.
Very good.
Number 14, play. And then number 15 is actually go to bed.
Oh, nice.
That's nice. It's simpler times.
Yeah.
But yeah, very much enjoy the fact she's actually drawn up an itinerary.
Yeah, well, I hope she gets to tick off all those things.
Yeah, she's only 8, the sad little fucker.
Quite demoralising if you don't manage to get through all of the play.
Yeah, can you imagine if she only gets 4 or 5 plays in?
Yeah.
She's going to be gutted.
Underachieved.
Yeah. Right, yes, I've watched some films. We watched a film. We didn't talk about it.
We did. We went to the cinema together to watch a film, which is a rarity.
You haven't reviewed it yet.
I've rated it. I've not reviewed it.
Did you rate it?
What did I rate it? 2 stars.
Yeah, I think I was 1.5.
You were. So yeah, a bit of a date night trip to the cinema for us. We both wore our anoraks or trench coats.
Yeah, a lot of perverts going on, wasn't there? A lot of perverts. Went to see Baby Girl.
Erotic thriller,
And
apparently.
when we walked in, it was several pairs of women and one single bloke
Yeah.
in an anorak. And then us.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of other single blokes came in. But yeah, felt
Just walked in and turned around with, it's no fun if...
felt like a pervert. Although you rightly pointed out, they're the perverts.
Yeah.
All those women.
Yeah, we do this for a living. Well, not living,
Oh yeah, that was
you know.
research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not a living.
Fucking hell.
But no, what did you...
It wasn't very good, was it, Baby Girl?
No, I thought it had a kind of a promising first half, which didn't really then...
Billed as an erotic
to
thriller.
Not very
Definitely
thrilling.
not thrilling. I didn't think it was particularly erotic either, to be honest.
If you like Nicole Kidman making guttural grunting sounds.
Listen,
then,
I called that out as good.
Yeah. Still there, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. But beyond that, yeah. No,
I did lose my interest halfway through.
That's what she said.
It's interesting, though, because it's getting kind of credit for not following the traditional erotic thriller path or a thriller path in a way, and not following with the traditional power types and stuff that you have.
Well, I mean, I touched on that in my review as well. Like, if it wants to be something else, that's fine.
But do it.
It wasn't. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't deep enough for that. That's what she said. Yeah. So, yeah, it wasn't very good.
And there was a review I read, which I shared with you, that said it was raucously funny. Raucously funny.
Yeah, that's just weird.
Like, what were they laughing at?
Yeah,
Honestly,
I don't know.
I can't think of a single point where I even chuckled so much.
There was like one line when he was back chatting her because she was telling him off for something. He was like, "Well, isn't your husband in there?" As if to say, "You're telling me off for doing something wrong. What are you doing?" Sort of thing. But like tonally, the sort of like the way the film was going, it's like just weird, mate.
Yeah.
No, not very good. Not very good. Not very good.
No. You watched another film that I also watched, A Real Pain.
Yes, probably the pick of the films I've watched.
Yeah, I did have quite a lot of fun with that.
Since we last spoke.
Went to the cinema on my own for that one. 9 a.m. showing. The only other person, there was one other person.
Is that your private showing?
Semi-private, obviously.
Well, because somebody else turned up, yeah.
But when I looked, I saw that there was one person who had reserved a seat. So tempting to put the seat next to them.
Yeah.
Just
Hello.
Unfortunately, they had booked in the most expensive section, so my tightness overrode my desire for bants.
So you could be so weird, couldn't you? Book it and then be like, "Oh, is this mine? Oh, we've booked next to each other," and then they'd know it was you because they were like, "Well, I booked."
Yeah, it wasn't booked when I booked it.
You sit down and then they'll probably move. And we're moving, are we? You move with them. Oh, yeah.
But I always get tempted. Like, I don't take buses very often, but to do the same thing. Like, if you get on a bus and it's just one person, just to sit next to the one person on the bus. Yeah. Hello.
I've had that on a train.
Have you?
More than once. Not when I've been the only person.
You obviously weren't man-spreading enough.
But like it's really quite empty. And then somebody comes and sits down. And you just do that thing where you're just like looking around at the empty seats, like trying to catch their eyes to go, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, weird. Right. It's A Real Pain. I did like it. It wasn't problem free. But I did like it.
Eisenberg being quite Eisenbergy.
I think he was quite good.
Yeah, I thought he was good Eisenbergy, but he was playing to type. And directed by him as well, which, fair play.
Yeah. Because I mean, they're not really acting, either of them, because they're sort of both doing exactly who they are, I think. And obviously you get that contrast between the two. Eisenberg talked about acting with Culkin and saying it was like not difficult. He didn't use the word difficult. He was like praising how good of an actor he is, but he was just pointing out how very different their approaches
style.
are. Yeah, because Kieran Culkin's spoken before about how he's just got no fucking time for method actors and all the rest of it. Yeah. He's just like, dude, it's just a job. Yeah. You turn up, you pretend to be the thing. Just get on with it, sort of thing. And people have been making a fair bit of that because, like, Jeremy Strong was sort of doing the media rounds because I think they were both promoting films.
Yeah, he's doing the
and he was very much going down the, a method's really important and this sort of the rest of it. Which I think is maybe what fueled the bit of like
with the Golden Globes.
The Globes when Culkin won instead of Jeremy Strong. People were like, oh. But I thought Culkin was really good. I arguably think Eisenberg was a bit better. I was very impressed by him because I don't like him.
No, you don't.
But he was very good in that. The rest of the film I thought was a bit. Yeah.
Oh, I quite enjoyed it throughout.
I didn't get any of the travel movie / hangout sort of vibes from it.
No, probably a bit less.
And they sort of make the point themselves in the film because he says like, "Well, we're not speaking to any Polish people."
Tourist place followed by dinner, right? And it's just...
we're not actually learning. So they make the point as well. But yeah, I was like, sort of wanted a bit more from that. But their performances, I thought, both of them, very very touching. And it made for quite an enjoyable
That's a Movie the Needle recommendation.
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say so.
I don't think there's another film that we've both seen. So,
have you seen Heretic?
No, do want to.
Watch that.
Going to watch that as part of my Oscars prep because I think he'll be nommed for actor.
That was decent. I think it's about what you expect from it when you see Hugh Grant being
sinister
and weird and a bit fun. I watched a film called Murder and Cocktails.
Right, yeah, this was the one I wanted to question you about.
Not the other one.
No, okay. I saw this one. Like, you appear to be the only person in the world who has seen this movie.
Yeah, it's on Prime as well.
Did you watch it on, like, hour one of it being released or something? Just on the slide?
I'd watched something on Prime. Mm-hmm. And it does that thing where it pops
You might
up.
like this.
And then I read the synopsis, and I was like, murder mystery? Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm in.
Don't even mind cocktails. Sometimes.
Yeah. Nothing too fruity, thanks.
Yeah. It's just really bad.
I mean, the poster looks really bad.
Yeah. The way the film looks, I would say that's the strong point. Because, and I guess this is just a sign of it being 2025, right? Technology's cheap, so you can actually make a good-looking film.
Good, yeah.
But like, none of the sort of the way it was shot stood out to me as really, really bad. I would say it looks quite good, but the rest of it,
it surprises me that you are
just awful.
You're still consuming movies in that way of just it popped up. Yeah. Why not? I mean, it's to your credit, to be fair, because sometimes it feels like hard work, doesn't it? When you know you've got a list to go down. Yeah.
And we've been trying to do some Oscars.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, especially the ones I've got left to do on our list.
There's a reason they're
heavy. So it's like, well, I'm not in that mood. And actually, I want to talk about that in classics a bit more as well. So we'll come back to
a bit of rewatchability in there, is it?
It is. I think rewatchability is in there, but I think there's a very specific type of rewatchability. So no, terrible. Just a really, really poor film. Everything about it, acting, writing, plot, story.
Not a Movie the Needle recommendation.
It is not,
people.
Sadly.
Avoid.
Yeah. Conclave, which I know you've seen.
Oh, yeah. Yep, seen that. Didn't see that this week, but talked about it last week. Yep.
It was all right.
Did you agree with my Dan Brown does 12 Angry Men?
Oh, have you said that?
Yeah, I said that on the pod last week.
Oh, did you? Oh, I didn't want paying attention. That's a real shame.
Why?
Because I've referenced Dan Brown as well in my review.
Well, so I'm right. Excellent.
You are right, but I know you rate that film 4 stars.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
And I was going to say to you here, I rated it 2.5.
2.5.
I was going to say to you here, I'm really pleased you scored Conclave so highly because I'm going to use it against you later on.
Yes, when we talk about the Dan Brown films.
Yeah. But you already know the angle now. Yeah. Oh, dear. Never mind. We'll make it work.
Yeah. Any more?
Just one more, which I think you must have seen as well. I know you've seen it, but I mean, you must have seen that I've watched it, right?
Was it Catherine Bigelow?
No, there's nothing jumping out to you. Oh, actually, that's not true. Actually, Zero Dark 30.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Two more. Yeah, I've watched Zero Dark 30. I rewatched Zero Dark 30.
Yeah.
More problematic than I remember it.
Zero Dark 30?
Yeah. It's a bit.
That's the Bin Laden one, right?
Yeah, it's a bit like American propaganda. Not as bad
When was
as
it
like
made?
American Sniper. It was made in 2011, 2012.
So when's that compared to when it happened? Was it like 2 years
Good
later?
question. I don't know. It's a year after Homeland came out. So I would say, regardless of when the events actually happened, that was a very hot topic at the time.
Yeah.
Very good though, but yeah, a bit more propaganda-y than I remember.
Chastain's good in that though.
Yeah, if you sort of put that aside, which I was still able to, it's a really well-made action film. And the final sequence in particular, very, very good. She knows what she's doing, Bigelow, when it comes to action.
Indeed.
No, mate. The other film, I know you've seen,
Yeah.
and I'm really pleased you haven't seen it. I've watched this.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Oh, right. Well, interesting, because I was speaking to your good lady wife.
Oh, fuck, she's ruined it.
Yeah.
She's ruined the surprise.
So I did see that, but also I am questioning the legitimacy of your watching of this, because she explained it to me that you were there on your laptop the whole time, not really paying attention.
I was making notes.
Were you?
Yeah.
About the film?
Yeah.
She did say that you were trying to interrogate your children to ask them questions about it.
Yeah, I was trying to get their take as
not
well.
engage with you.
I was trying to get their take as well. I've written quite an in-depth review, to be fair.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I look forward to reading it. You loved it, right? 4.5, what, 5? 5
Jesus,
stars.
mate. Here's the thing, right? I understand this is a big event film.
Uh-huh.
Wizard of Oz got a massive following. The stage show's got a big following. Even like for the kids, it's got like Ariana Grande in and everything.
Yeah,
My kids are very excited about Ariana Grande being in it. So I understand it's a big event film. I do think that is people are backing themselves into the corners, trying desperately to make out this film is actually better than it is, because they are unable to do that thing where they go, "It's okay that I like it and it's still shit. That's okay." People aren't very good at that, and I think they're desperate to make out this is actually better than it is. And what I think is going to happen is, in a year's time, when they release a second one, which by virtue of how they've split them is going to have more content in. Right?
Yes, yeah, it's going
because
to be
the
more
first act of the
content.
show is film 1.
Yep.
And the acts 2 and 3 are the that's going to have more content in. And I think what's going to happen is people say, "Oh, The Wicked, I love those films," and they'll never ever watch Wicked. They'll go, 2 hours 40 for that where nothing happens. No, I'll just put the second one on, thank you very much. Because, oh my God, there's like 20 minutes of content in that film.
Yeah, it to be fair, it is unnecessarily long for half a movie.
Like I'm half teasing there, but I do think when the dust settles and the second one comes out, it's going to look like a very bad self-indulgent decision to have split it.
What's interesting though is they didn't invent any new songs for the first half, right? They've stayed pretty true to the stage show.
I honestly don't know how they've done it.
So I don't know how it is actually so much longer, unless the numbers themselves are just more drawn out and stuff like that. But
what I put down is
the whole show's like 3 hours, 2 hours 45 or so.
Yeah, so this film's 2 hours 40. The whole show's 2 hours 45.
Yeah,
incredible how they've done it. I don't know how they've done it, because, like, I'm joking. I'm saying there's like 20 minutes of content in there, because the story of that is like in every other preteen soap opera that my kids watch, right? And they do that in 22-minute episodes, right? So it's like there's half an hour's actual story. Let's separate out the end, which is not really the end. It's our exciting incident from Act 1.
Yep.
But let's separate out the end of separate. I'll give you another 15 minutes for that, right? So if half an hour, 15 minutes, we've got 45 minutes worth of content. I'll let you double the entire thing up with musical numbers, yeah? Hour and a half. How the fuck does it still go on for another 70 minutes? Yeah. What are they doing with the time? I honestly don't know.
I will rewatch it at some point and actually think about it a little bit of how what they've done to do it, because I rated it 3. Because I very much enjoy it. I like it. I'm a big fan of Wicked, especially compared to Wizard of the Oz. Wizard of Oz. But I was fighting myself with the rating a little bit, just as like you said, where you go like, oh, I did kind of really enjoy it, but actually there's probably some
there's a
bits
host of problems
I
with
need
it.
to actually, if I was thinking about it with like
some of them are nearly objective. Like we're nearly got some objectivity.
So I settled on it's largely favourable with some issues.
I've two more notes on it before we move on. I nearly messaged you to say, because I turned to my wife and I said, I wonder if Glinda is going to be any nicer in this one. And do you remember Glinda's first line?
No.
It's nice to see me, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, nope. Which they obviously...
They play up to.
They play on. Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, at least that makes sense. The other thing, proud dad moment, after a couple of hours, my eldest turned to me and went, Daddy, why doesn't this film have any danger in it?
Oh.
And I was like, well, that's what happens when you stretch out one act of a production and pretend that it's just as simple as making it into a film. Structure's important, isn't it? I didn't say that. I just sat there and gone, it'll happen, it'll come, don't worry.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah. But I was like, she was there, clearly aware of the structural problems with this. Okay, something should have happened by now, Daddy.
I tell you, she's going to be taking my seat soon, isn't she? That's the problem.
Well, no, because she's likely to agree with me. Although she didn't agree with me that Glinda's a cunt, though. So, yeah, no, very good. Enjoyed that little bit of it, but that little Easter egg. But the actual film, bag of shit, mate.
Oh, so I watched one final one that I want to talk about. All of Us Strangers. This has been on my watch list for a little while on Disney Plus.
Who's in that?
Andrew Scott and your mate.
Which one?
Paul Mescal.
Oh yeah.
Pretty challenging to describe. I don't really want to go into detail in case you do watch it, but I was really impressed with it. Thought Andrew Scott is fantastic in it, and I'm not necessarily someone who rates Andrew Scott in other things he's been in quite so much. He's fine, but he was genuinely excellent in this. Paul Mescal's good in it as well. Jamie Bell's in it. Claire Foy, both doing well, good performances. And it's one of those movies that kind of starts off as one thing before transitioning before your very eyes into something very different, but carries you along.
Going to go off into it starts off as one thing and then turns into another, and they have an exciting incident on the way. Oh, no, I'm sure it's very good. Yeah.
So yeah, rated that 4.5.
4.5. Wow.
Yeah, it's a big boy. You all either really like it or really hate it, I reckon.
It sounds like I might like it. Reading the synopsis here.
Yeah. So yeah, give it a watch. It's only an hour 45 on Disney Plus. Just get it watched. Right. Enough of this chit chat. I have one apology that I forgot to do last week.
I accept.
Never and no. So serious face.
Oh.
Apology and a correction in one. Goes back to our Golden Globes reaction episode. Give that a listen if you haven't already. Zippy 20 minutes. And I knew as I started saying it, I was in trouble as I was talking out of complete ignorance, which normally obviously is fine, and have made.
Have you done a racism
series of it? No, but I was talking about the movie A Different Man, which stars Sebastian Stan
or she.
Sebastian Stan. Oh, A Different Man. I see.
Yes.
I said Stan, not man. Yeah. Okay. And an actor who I described as having a condition the same as the Elephant Man, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
I was very wrong. So the actor in question, Adam Pearson, is himself being a campaigner, probably against the kind of ignorant shit that I spouted out.
Yeah.
So his genetic condition is neurofibromatosis, which is very much different to the Elephant Man, Joseph Merrick, who had Proteus syndrome. So very different. Don't want to tar everyone with a condition as having the same thing. Apologies. Sorry. And breathe. I can relax now.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll leave a positive comment when he listens.
Yeah, he should do, shouldn't
he? Yeah. Well, obviously he doesn't. Will you revoke your apology?
No.
Okay, good.
Carl.
Yes.
It is that time.
Right.
Where we unveil the ale.
And today's unveiling of the ale starts with a confession.
Yes.
So we obviously need... There's a right way to play this. right, it's clear.
An American-made beer.
That's what we need.
That's what we need.
There's beer in the film. It's going to be some shit lager.
Yeah.
I didn't stop to find out.
Yeah.
We need an American-made. And what's the best American-made beer that is freely available to us?
Stone.
It's Stone IPA. So I popped down to Asda and got 4 of them. Because
Did you drink them all?
It's 4 for 3.
Did you drink
it's
them
4 for
all?
3, isn't it?
You drank them all, didn't
So
you?
I popped 2 aside in the pod fridge, 2 aside in my fridge, and I drank the 2 that were for me. And then the next night, I was watching another film. Oh, maybe I'll just have those and replace them tomorrow. So I did. And then I went down to Asda again on Monday. Sold out. I popped in again this morning. Sold out. And what's bad about that?
These errands you had to run when I popped into
It was one of the errands, yes. And what's bad about that is what happens, and I'm really worried about this, what happens if they're not selling it anymore?
Ooh.
Which is obviously bad in the long term, but also means I've deprived us of sharing one last one.
So I've got only myself to blame, because if we had recorded on Monday as originally planned, I'm assuming those beers would still have been in existence.
No. I bought them like Thursday last week, so I think I drank them on Friday and Saturday.
Oh, well, then you're completely to blame. That's fine. Maybe maybe Asda have done that thing where they've like analysed the sales and they go, it's literally just one guy buying all these beers. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Right, so.
Do we have American-made beer?
Plan B,
Yeah.
There is still an American-made beer available in Asda.
Okay. Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
I haven't had that for a while. Thank you. All right, we'll crack that and see what it's like.
At this point, you didn't mention your glass, by the way.
Oh, I didn't even look. Oh, we got one in the Sierra Nevada glass. Very good, very good. Nice. I haven't even tasted the beer yet.
I put some thought into this podcast.
Hold on.
Not so much on the film side of it. But...
yeah, style of substance. Right, anyway, let's introduce the film. So today it is American made. And before we get into it, a reminder of our simple 5-point scale that we work to here on the podcast. So you either really like it, you're ambivalent, you don't like it, or you really don't like it. So Carl, what is your impression of American Made? A somewhat overlooked / forgotten movie, I believe.
Yeah, I'd say so. I really like it.
Really like it. Oh, okay. So I am ambivalent. Very ambivalent. Just ambivalent. I'm ambivalent. I'm ambivalent. I'm ambivalent. I'm ambivalent.
Yeah. I mean, you're ambivalent or you're not. You can't be very ambivalent. I know we've talked about this like 3,
Scales
dimensional scale, but that doesn't...
Ambivalency?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Might not be a word. I'm going with it.
I think basically if you say you're very ambivalent, what you mean is you're ambivalent. And then the minute you're like only a bit ambivalent, you are in fact no longer ambivalent. And you have some feelings one way or the other, even if they're only slight.
Yeah.
So
it's
but,
like
we have a 5-point scale. So I think what you should say is if you're feeling ambivalent, and even if you like it one way or the other, but not enough to say you like it or you don't like it, you should just say ambivalent and leave it at that.
So you see, what I consider our scale is like 3D. So it's like,
right.
So you have your scale that I've just described along that, and then you've got the depth, right? Like, how girthy is your ambivalence? Ooh,
right, yeah.
It's a girthy
ambivalence.
It's
a dick joke, I see.
Yeah. I mean, if you like.
No, that's fine, yeah.
All right, let me tell you even why I am ambivalent.
Right.
I'm struggling for many things, but also struggling to see why you do really like this as much as you do. So I'm going to be asking you some questions as we go through each section just to help me understand. I mean, sure, it's a fun story, right? Cruz is clearly having a good time playing against type, and I'm in no way saying this is bad. It's just very unremarkable, I guess, is the point. I suppose this did come out in the same year as The Mummy, so in comparison, it's an absolute Godfather-like masterpiece. But yeah, It's all right. Carl, why do you like it so much?
I mean, you're right about Overlooked. I think I'd never heard of it and then just found it on Netflix one day. Probably only a couple of years ago.
Ooh.
And I had such a good time with it. I couldn't believe there wasn't more fuss about it. It's interesting you say Playing Against Type, because I do think that if this had been released in the 90s, I think it'd be a bit of a classic. I feel like it's got all of the ingredients, it's got all of the things that made film so good in the 90s. And on that, I can't think of anyone who could pull off a film like this better than TC can. I think it suits him down to a T. It's fast-paced, it's fun, it's an interesting story. It's all there, mate.
Ooh, it's a nice colour.
Oh, thanks. I'll put it away now.
The beer, Carl, the beer. This movie stalked. Brilliant.
Because I went to sniff my beer and then I was going to make a joke about and how's the smell?
Oh, no.
How's the aroma? But then I laughed at my own fucking joke while I was sniffing.
Brilliant. Right, good stuff. It's going well. All right, we're going to move swiftly on to the cast. And this is where my first question comes, Carl. Are you blinded by the Tom Cruise dazzle? Did your boner for Tom Cruise divert too much blood from your brain? Actually, no, let me correct that. There's in no way, shape, or form that enough blood is diverted.
It's another dick joke.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible, yeah. I kind of think it's the point with this film, though. I know you said about The Mummy, and that could have been well served with a less known actor because Cruise is a bit of a distraction. I don't think that's the case here. I think this is the sort of film that is all the stronger for having an extremely charismatic, fun lead. Because so much of it is obviously about him and his story and the approach they've taken with it.
Pretty much a one-man show.
Yeah,
really.
pretty much. And the approach they've taken with it, which is to obviously embellish and exaggerate and all the rest of it, I think it really suits him. Right down to the fact, and him in particular, right down to the fact that there are some action scenes in there, right? And he's doing his flying and all the rest of it. It's got a bit of that cut and thrust. And of course, you know TC's doing his own flying.
Oh, yeah. Check the credits just to make sure.
Oh, yeah, you don't need to check.
Down a stunt pilot
yeah,
for
of course
these
he
blades.
is. You don't need to check the credits. You know he's doing it. So, yeah, maybe I kind of think that's the point. And I think it really works, which is why I say about the 90s. The 90s would have gone hard after that sort of thing.
I kind of see where you're coming from with the 90s angle.
Insecurity whatsoever. They'd have gone, vehicle for Tom Cruise, boom, let's do it, baby.
I think also in the time of his career that this is as well, he has moved away from anything really non-cruisy.
Except the... Oh, no, I see what you mean. Yes, yeah.
He did his more interesting, flawed character roles.
Yeah.
Much earlier on, and so this is about as flawed as his characters have been in his recent filmography, unless I'm overlooking something. But
no, I don't know what you're saying about Playing Against Type, because he's definitely more light-hearted and sort of over the top here than he was in the 90s. But I don't think it's fully against type. I think it's just a slight exaggeration.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn between. Is he playing it like a simple country fella who's just landing on his feet and doing it, or if he's a very smart, thinking it all through and just kind of getting in deep and doing that. Like I couldn't think how he was actually.
No, I think he's. I don't know if smart's the right word. He's clearly very resourceful because the film sort of says that when he needs more money, you'll work it out, and he's like, I fucking will work it out. Actually, I think he's clearly very resourceful. I don't think he's dumb. I think he's just he's a bit of a thrill seeker, a bit of a malcontent, and he's just like because he's bored, isn't he, doing his job, and he dips the plane and. The air mass drop down just for a bit of a thrill because he's bored and what have you. So, I don't think he's fallen into it in that sense, and he's just sort of dumbly going along and things keep happening to him. I think he's just like act first, think later sort of thing. Yeah, because he's that impulsive, I think. And
I found his performance actually, to be fair, like I said, he's clearly having fun with it.
Yeah.
Maybe not playing quite against type, but a little bit of the uncruisy thing, and he's playing it like it's a light romp. it's a adventure movie.
Yeah.
Which I think is basically what the director's going for there as well.
Yeah.
In perhaps the least surprising trivia about the movie that I could find, the real Barry Seal looked nothing like Tom Cruise. No. I'm just like, really? It wasn't. It didn't. He didn't pick Tom Cruise because it was like it looked exactly like him. I am shocked. Apparently, a bit of a heavyset guy nicknamed El Gordo.
Yeah. Doesn't that just mean the fat man or something? Yeah.
Basically, the fat one. Yeah. But yeah, but obviously we said he performed his own flying and stunts, even the crashes and that. Like, what did you find his accent was a bit in and out?
Yeah, it was a bit.
It was a bit in and out. Really. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it was literally occasionally where you kind of go, no, you're just doing Tom Cruise voice. You're not doing the.
He tended to get it better when he was doing pieces to the camera. When he's doing...
Which I guess he did all one go, right? So.
Yeah, and I think it went in and out more when he's obviously in the scenes with people, especially when there's other things going on.
Yes,
Which is, is understandable.
But he's also an actor, so for fuck's sake, come on.
Well, that's true. But I don't think, tonally, with where this film's at, I don't think it matters. It's not It's not offensive enough to be...
There's a couple of times that it stood out, let's put it that way. Donald Gleeson.
Oh, what a weaselly little shitbag.
Yeah. Oh, shit, sorry. I've done it. Oh, I can't believe it. Second appearance on the pod, and I made apologies for not pronouncing his name right the first time. Domhnall Gleeson.
Is it actually like it can't be Gleeson?
No, it's not. It's Donald Gleeson.
Yeah.
There you go. I think I nailed it.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
He's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is good in this. I kind of forgot again. I haven't even seen it that long ago. I kind of forgot he was in it again.
Difficult to recast?
He's almost
you need someone
cross
who's
between
like
pencil pusher and charming, suave with a little threatening.
Yeah, he's got a bit of devil in him for sure.
Yeah.
You need someone who's up and coming. So this was the thing with once you go for younger actors, and I know he's like 40, so he's not that young, but once you go for younger actors, it gets a bit thin on the ground, doesn't it, when you're trying to do this recasting? And trying to find someone else of his ilk, like you say, who can pull all those various things off was pretty tough, I thought. So. Still makes me laugh that you said he was a good-looking chap, by the way, on a previous pod.
Do you not think he's a good-looking chap?
Absolutely not, no. And I think that works absolutely fine here. But,
I mean, it's a lot of ginger going on with the beard and the hair. I mean, and it's interesting because they've. I was watching I said it again. It's interesting. No, people will be the judge of that.
We'll decide.
But I was watching like a couple of documentary clips of about this just to sort of read around it a little bit, and he is a lot more ginger in those than he is in the movie. It's like they've just scaled it back a little bit, just tinted out.
We need to put this filter on. Oh, what's that to make the countryside pop? No, it's to dumb down Donald's hair.
Yeah, it's definitely less red. Let's put it that way. But my initial thought when he appeared was, he's not in enough things. I do like him. I want to see him more. Actually, then looking at it, he's in quite a lot of things, and quite a lot of things I've seen actually as well, and. Then Peter Rabbit and Peter Rabbit 2, which I've not seen, and fuck that.
Oh, God. Have you seen the first one?
No. In what way? No. Why would I?
Corden.
It's not Corden as what? Peter Rabbit?
Yeah.
The voice? Oh, dear.
And somehow he still comes through.
He doesn't get shot. Disappointing. But yeah, like Donald Gleeson.
Good.
Yeah. Where do you want to go next?
I've only got two more. I've got Sarah Wright as Lucy Seal.
Yes.
I think she's quite good. I mean, obviously she doesn't have a ton of things to do.
No. Apparently more than in the script, though. They bulked it out. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, I think you can sort of see why, because when she is on screen, she's pretty feisty. She definitely sort of gives as good as she. She's not going to let him have an easy ride, but then she definitely still loves him. Because there's a bit at the end, isn't she, where he's going like, "Do you trust me?" She's like, "Fuck no."
Yeah.
But she.
She
still goes back to him, and they have this lovely embrace and whatever. So I thought she delivered the sort of stricken wife who is scared of losing it all, and primarily a husband. She gets that across rather than the actual lifestyle itself, and managed to keep that in the tone of the film. So yeah, not loads to do, but I thought she was pretty good.
I thought she was a bit too glamorous when they made it. When she was a bit.
I think they're supposed to be like, and when you look at her brother, I think they're supposed to be like...
bit more trailery.
Bit trailer trash, I think.
Yeah.
and then neither of them really quite understand the scale of what's going on and what's at risk and whatever. So I think that's.
But it's not like they're going for realism in this. So
Well, no.
Having she's like 23 years younger than Cruise as well, but
that's going to be nowhere near the most egregious age difference of his on-screen partners, is it?
I think if we recall back to probably the Mummy episode when we were talking about the Razzies, I think that was one, or some
that's right.
random thing, that was one that came up, wasn't it?
I think it was the Razzies.
But to be fair, I think when you look at them on screen and stuff, you don't look at them necessarily and go.
The thing is, we said
Killy
like
Fiddler.
We said like John Malkovich was a similar age or something. The problem is Tom Cruise plays younger and can play younger.
Yes.
John Malkovich never could.
No.
So you put him on with someone like that, it's like, oh, what?
Yeah, he looked like a granddad when he was 30.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Who was your other one that you've got?
Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, I mean, he is very small part in this.
Yeah,
really,
it's only a small part. But I mean, it's reasonably pivotal because that signals when stuff starts going wrong.
When he catches the idiot.
yeah, as well. But I just called him out because I do think he plays an idiot very well, which is what he is here again.
He's not necessarily an idiot, right? He's just like a guy who's just like,
Yeah,
I don't know, like, I'm a cop in a very tiny town. This is the easiest job in the world.
Maybe it's no. But I just when he's there, like what all these people, I wonder how they're thought.
Yeah, I think it's like indifferent. It's just like
maybe.
Oh, I mean, it's good, isn't it, for the town? Let's face it. What are we doing? Like, I'm not going to spend some time. Seems nice. Yeah.
But no, he's good. I think he's quite decent. Jesse Plemons.
He's always watchable. I find with Jesse Plemons, and he's never like a major role necessarily.
No.
But whenever he's there, and he always looks the same. He always speaks the same, pretty much, and he still somehow just fits in those movies.
Yeah.
Do you reckon he's one of those that are like, oh, we need someone like a Jesse Plemons. Should we just get Jesse Plemons? Yeah, all right, let's just get Jesse Plemons. Yeah, he's probably available.
Yeah, maybe.
He does 2 days on every movie, so. The only other one I called out was Caleb Landry Jones, JB. An invented character, apparently.
All right.
There was no brother-in-law. But, performs a big scummy hick role.
Yeah, and he's fairly dislikable, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah. You can smell him through the screen, I would say.
Yes. Yeah.
Recasting then.
Well, it's tough. Because how do you... There isn't another Tom Cruise.
Right, so this is the angle I've gone for, right? Their budget, they need someone who can fly a plane and won't charge extra, okay? So they need a qualified pilot.
Are you going John Travolta?
Wait. So unfortunately, it does mean this is the pick that we have. Harrison Ford.
All right.
I'm not sure he could really pull that one off. Yeah. Clint Eastwood, the age difference might be an issue.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt, apparently. It doesn't shout about it like Cruise, but apparently he's got his a license. Travolta. But the one I think I'm going to go for, Angelina Jolie.
Right, yeah.
Hey, I reckon she could do
it. What are
it.
you going to do? Are you gonna make her up to be a man, or are you just going to just flip the whole...
She's got a little... I reckon she could do androgynous.
Yeah.
Is it Barry Seal?
Or Carrie Seal.
Carrie Seal. Yeah. But probably...
Barry or Carrie, you could have made a game out of that.
Barry or Carrie.
Yeah.
Or soon. But yeah, probably, I don't know, Brad Pitt, probably from those. But not sure.
Yeah. Because you're just trying to replace the charisma, aren't you? So I toyed with the idea of Colin Farrell. Yeah, I think he might have enough charisma and sort of sass in this film to convince you that he can sort of get anything done.
He could play Sway.
Yeah. If I think about sort of... He's got swagger. I think swagger's the main word for this film. You need swagger.
Overriding confidence in your ability to make it through.
Yeah, I think so. Bruce Willis, he's too serious.
Yeah.
I think if Johnny Depp's career goes differently, you maybe could have been shouting him out for something like that.
He's already been in Blow, though. And
yeah, that's true. It's hard to make... but, I mean, he was a bit of a weasel in Blow, wasn't he? So. But I'm thinking about some of the younger roles he's had.
I mean, this was only like 7 years ago. This movie was made, so...
Oh, he's washed up now, Johnny Depp.
Yeah. He looks older than Tom Cruise. I'm not sure he is.
No.
I'm pretty certain he isn't.
and that's before you get into the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the best one I've got is Colin Farrell. I think.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, not bad.
But it's tough because there is only one TC.
Did you? Yeah, indeed. Did you do anyone else?
By the way, I need to say, because obviously I really like Tom Cruise.
You do?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. I know. I know it's a shock.
Oh, okay. Right. You should have mentioned this before.
But because I heard this on another podcast.
Right.
And somebody felt the need to differentiate between Tom Cruise, the movie star, and Tom Cruise. And I just want to say, I bet he's a fucking nightmare, and he's definitely a problematic individual.
Oh.
So I don't want anyone to think that I really admire Tom Cruise.
Yes, you like Tom Cruise.
I like Tom Cruise when he's on screen
and he's acting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
Because I bet he's a right twat. Anyway, right, Schaefer.
Yeah, tricky one, isn't it?
Tricky one. You need someone young. They've got to have a bit of arsehole in them because they're using. They've got to. Ugly is not a prerequisite, but they can't be too dashing. Right? They can't be. Like they've got to, you've got to buy them as like an office laden. I don't know whether they're called as analysts or operatives, whatever.
Be that kid from Baby Girl.
Kid from Baby Girl. No, no. Although no. Harrison, what's his face? No. I've gone with Jesse Eisenberg, the arsehole Michael Cera.
I don't know. No. I'm not sure.
I can see him walking away when he goes, Schaefer, and he goes, "What the fuck, Schaefer?"
Yeah, I don't know if he'd have the. I don't know. Could he pull off the sort of the authority kind of side of it that he manages to get across, even though he's basically just a cubicle dweller? Don't know. Yeah, maybe it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one to recast. I don't love it, but have you got any others?
Have you got any others?
Just Sarah Wright.
Okay, we'll go with you, Sarah Wright.
I mean, Doug Liman, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, Emily Blunt.
Yeah, come on. She could do it. Perfect.
I mean, I've got her down as an honorable mention, but if I want trailer trash, I'm going Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, that would work.
But yeah, I mean, of course, Emily.
Of course. What can't she do?
Yeah.
Cool. Any more?
I put Channing Tatum down for Sheriff Downing.
Yeah, why not?
Because he could play a sort of a lackadaisical idiot.
Disinterested.
Disinterested, if you like,
yeah. Cool.
All right, good.
All right, let's move on to the production. Or as the Medellin folks would say, el producción.
They would, yeah.
But this leads me to my second question to find out why Carl likes this movie so much. Is Carl a closet Scientologist?
I think what I've just said.
Wait. Is there a test we can do to find this out? Guess what, Carl?
Oh, there is.
AI suggested 5 questions to root you out.
Okay, right, yeah.
It should be clear, very careful to tell me to respect people's beliefs and not interrogate them to out them.
Oh, God, is it like a recognised religion now? That makes it a protected characteristic, doesn't it?
It's recognised in any other religion, let's face it. I mean, how less made up is it?
Ooh. Right, go on.
Okay, question number 1. Do you ever feel like your thetan levels are off the charts?
My what?
Your thetan levels? Or what operating thetan or OT level would you say you were?
I'm going to have to say no. I don't ever feel like they are off the charts.
Playing it dumb, I like it.
And I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to follow that up.
That's what you would say. Isn't it?
Yeah, that is what Scientology would say, is it? Yeah.
Have you ever had an auditing session that felt more like a therapy session?
Auditing session? What's an
auditing? It's apparently something that they do. It's an auditing.
I mean, do I occasionally like to sit and get my life into order and
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I mean,
but not felt like a therapy. Yeah,
you get a like, yeah.
Do you have a favourite L. Ron Hubbard book?
I've never read an L. Ron Hubbard book. That's what Scientology would say, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself using the word engrams in casual conversation?
I'm going to have to say no again.
No. I mean, I'll be honest, it's not cropped up in our coffee chats.
No.
Yet.
No, that's true.
We'll see. I'll keep an ear open for it, though.
Yeah.
This one, a little on the nose, I thought.
All right.
Is your idea of a fun weekend a trip to the nearest Scientology centre?
Yeah. I mean... He was in our midst this whole time.
No to the first 4, but the 5th one. Oh yeah, actually,
yeah.
That was me.
Aha!
Okay, so it turns out maybe not a closet Scientology.
No.
Okay, well that's fine. Okay, let's talk about production then. So Doug Liman. I feel like we've talked about Doug Liman a lot.
Yeah,
but I don't know why.
Well, we had a fun few minutes, didn't we? Trashing Roadhouse.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. We obviously Emily Blunt, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, we both like Edge of Tomorrow, so that's come up.
But we haven't done one of his films yet.
No.
Other films that he's done that apart from those two, Jumper. You seen that?
No, not seen Jumper.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yes, I've seen
that. The Bourne Identity.
Yes.
Oh, we've talked about that as well. Probably with the Matt Damon thing.
Yeah, could have been.
Go.
No,
I've not seen that. And Swingers.
Yes.
So apparently, American Made is his 5th highest rated movie of those. Above Mr. and Mrs. Smith, The Instigators, never heard of it. The Wall, never heard of it. Jumper, and of course Roadhouse. Above Roadhouse.
It's not going to threaten that, is it?
Interesting with... Oh, for fuck's sake.
Mate, you cannot get hung up on our verbal tics, right?
I get hung up on my verbal tics. It's my thing.
No, it's... Yeah.
What I found interesting was...
so I do this thing as well, right? Whenever I write a review on Letterboxd to go, starting sentences with, I think...
Yeah,
so obviously, we know
this
you
is your
think
review.
You're writing it, you cunt. Right.
I think that's still okay, isn't it?
But it's like I think because I like.
If you started with "we think," it would
I don't
be
want to present anything as fact, though. Like I don't want people to think that I'm like decreeing this. Well, I think by the way, just in case you disagree with me,
this is just my opinion, guys.
Yeah, I think that you can think differently, but yeah, I mean, it's like yes, we know you think it, you twat.
Other opinions are available.
Yeah, better opinions.
His approach when I was reading a bit about Doug Liman in preparation. I think this perfectly aligns with his filmography, which, let's be honest, is uneven but actually quite consistent in terms of its tone, I think. So he doesn't look for depth, he says. As long as there is a story and a character he likes, he'll see what comes out along the way, basically, is his gist.
The film he makes is the film he aspired to make.
Indeed.
That's what he says.
Which I don't know whether to applaud it. I kind of want to applaud it.
It's the Samuel L. Jackson approach to things.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson just said, I just take a script if I like it. I don't care what the film is, who's directing it, how it's likely to do, how I'm likely to be viewed. He just reads scripts and he goes, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, he kind of goes like, well, if we find any additional depth in there as we're shooting it, then great. If not, and I was looking at his filmography and I was just like, yeah, that checks out.
I don't know if it's entirely totally consistent, though, because the Bourne identities are quite serious. Didn't he do the Supremacy as well?
Did he do Supremacy?
If he's not the director, I'm sure he's got credit on it.
I thought that was... what's his face? Fucking hell. Come on.
It's good content, this.
Name. Come on. Shout out. Will's shouting it. You can just hear it. I can hear Will shouting as he's listening to this already. It's Greengrass. It's Greengrass, you bastard.
Oh, is it Greengrass, is it?
I think so.
What else did he do? He did like another sort of spy/action thing, didn't he?
Well, Bourne Ultimatum.
Yeah, obviously, besides that, you've...
Green Zone, he did that. He did United 93.
I've seen that as well, yeah.
It's good. Anyway, we're not talking about that. But yeah, like you look at him like, well, Roadhouse is clearly not going for any depth there.
Captain Phillips.
Jumper, definitely not. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that's very much just a very popcorny movie. Bourne Identity, I think it's definitely less deep than the subsequent ones, or less serious than the subsequent ones, I'd say as well.
It is, actually, and I noticed that on a rewatch. That film is not as sharp or clever as I remember at all. No. It's still good.
Yeah.
And I like it. But you sort of... This was when I was doing the James Bond thing, right? Because... people always say the Bourne films gave James Bond an identity crisis because they went, Christ, we are archaic. Yeah. How do we live with this sort of gritty thing? You watch Bourne Identity and you go, it's not that gritty, mate.
It was more the fighting, wasn't it? It was sharp. More the fight scenes themselves.
Yeah, like, don't worry about it. But they do get more sort of convoluted as they go through the...
But yeah, I think I've kind of gained a little bit of a respect for a Doug Liman who's just kind of like, look, I'm basically making popcorn movies that are fun. There's a fun story. There's a character I liked when I made it, and I'm going to make it. And I'm not going to make a 3-hour epic that needs multiple rewatches to understand it or anything like that. It's just like, the world needs some Doug Limans in the world, doesn't he?
Fair enough, yeah.
Budget-wise...
Producer. He was on executive
sense.
Producer on Supremacy.
Yeah, but it's a token gesture.
Yeah.
Made 50 million budget. So Liman described this as a big budget independent film.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So Cruise's first independent film, he was saying. Not sure if that's actually true. Didn't check it out.
But that is interesting that he's decided to take a punt himself. He's obviously at that stage of his career where he's going, I'm doing it for the fun sort of thing.
I've done the mummy. Time to...
Yeah, he's not short of a few quid, is he?
One for them, one for me.
Yeah.
It made 135 million worldwide in the old box office. So,
Solid.
Solid, but it kind of, again, in that opening bit where I said it's kind of overlooked, forgotten, ignored almost. Not even forgotten, it's just like, it just kind of flew under the radar.
It is exactly the sort of film that by now would have made a ton of money on DVD sales by now as well.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Because people would have just steadily come to it and gone, and instead of catching it on Netflix like I did, would have been going, there's this Tom Cruise one that slipped out that I never saw. Oh, we should watch that. Oh, it's really good. Yeah, I know someone. Yeah, so yeah, no, I agree. It's very slept on. I want to put another Doug Liman note to you that you've mentioned before.
Oh yeah,
and I think you'd said this when you first watched American Made after I'd recommended it to you.
Yeah,
Steadicam.
Yeah, a lot of Steadicam in this. I'm guessing there's a lot in Born Identity as well.
Yeah, I looked. So I said to you at the time, because I can't remember.
Edge of Tomorrow. That's what I said at the time. I was like, I don't know if he did it in Edge of Tomorrow a lot as well.
He did.
Did he?
Yeah. So I looked it up, and it's basically he does it all the time. It's what he's known for. And the reason I can't remember it, and I looked out for it this time, I've never noticed it in this either, is because if you do it right, and I think he's doing it right, you don't notice.
I mean, I think that's probably where we're going to disagree a little bit as well, because you're right. If it suits the tone of the of the movie and what you're shooting, it shouldn't matter, right? It should just feel natural. I think, moving on to how this is shot, there are times where, and it's the shaky cam, and then a random zoom in, and I think what that suits is that kind of gritty realism, right? Which I think kind of seems counter to the tone of the film, which is not necessarily going for the gritty
I think it
realism. Really
works this on here because this is a fast-paced ride.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think that's and we're also, and I'll talk about this in a sec. There's a very specific structure to the way he's put this movie together, and you do end up moving sort of very quickly from scene to scene to scene. And again, I think that because it's not just that we're traversing a lot of time in the movie, and
what's that, 6 years?
Yeah, so it's not just that, and it's not just that we are. Everything is a bit high octane, right? Because he's flying through, and the nature of what he's doing is obviously outlandish and all the rest of it. It's not that. It's just we are literally flitting, like I say, from scene to scene to scene. I think the shaky cam works. Well, steady cam they call it, but
shaky cam.
Yeah, shaky cam's probably a better name, right?
Yeah, it's very steady, not steady. Yeah. Put it on a dolly if you want it steady. Jesus.
Yeah. But then it won't be a steady cam. It's not. I think it works really well and helps to add to that. Whoa, we're getting like pulled along here. This is a crazy ride sort of thing. So I liked it.
Yeah, it just felt at times to me that it was like shot like a shitty documentary, which I think is kind of what they were going for, a kind of documentary style that we are in the midst, right? This isn't a shot thing. But then I don't know, it kind of felt like a bit of an awful CW TV show at times as well. And
I've got to say, I didn't notice it. I've only picked up on it this time because you called it out.
And I'll be honest, I noticed it a lot more the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it this time for the podcast, it stood out less as a thing. And maybe that's because I knew it was coming, so it was less of a jarring thing. Maybe you were just in a bad
mood at the time.
I mean, possibly. I said no, up and down, Carl. Who knows? Hormones nowadays. Woo. I didn't like the selfie camcorder recording initially. That actually ends up serving the plot, so kind of makes sense.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about this. I thought there were two and maybe this is going to feed into the whole you cross this film with this film, you get this film.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
There are two things that I noticed, and they're both 90s. And I thought you had Forrest Gump. I thought you had a real Forrest Gump approach to it, because they're giving us that bit of a history lesson sort of thing, which, like you say, the pieces to camcorder that he's recording are very directly doing. They're also dropping in stock footage of like events at the time, and they're giving us little Easter eggs within that as well, the way Forrest Gump does, because we've got like
I see that,
the reminders that Reagan's an actor by showing us one of the films he's in. We see George W. Bush Jr. as a pilot.
Yeah, which I did not pick up.
Yeah, I didn't until this time.
I did even watching it again, I didn't pick up until I read it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Right.
So you've got all that sort of Forrest Gump's newsreel type progression
where
we move through from event to event to event. And then we've got the voiceover again, similar to Forrest Gump, telling us, like, dropping explainers in.
Which is basically the camcorder thing, right?
Yeah.
As he's recording
and then
the camcorder
we also
thing.
have pieces where it like draws bits on a map and all the rest
Yeah,
of it.
I didn't really like the drawing bit on the map thing. It felt a bit silly, but...
Yeah, I thought it was kind of fun. The other film it reminded me of very much is Casino, because the way we advance the story so quickly with so little exposition, it was very reminiscent of Casino. So, like, he is... I mean, it's Predator levels of exposition. It's so tight. We go from meeting him, and then he's fully shot up and getting shot up as he's flying over the bases within something like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're managing
straight
to,
in there.
you're managing to move through all those events so quickly because you've got voice over the top while stuff's happening, so you don't need to pause.
Yeah.
And then it lets it be this very, very, like the first hour and a half of Casino, lets it be this very, very sort of set piece / sequence heavy thing where you can get, now we do this bit, I'll explain this bit, now we do this bit, I'll explain it. And you don't have to have much further around. So I was really reminded of those two films, which again I think is a very, very 90s approach.
Yeah, I mean on the introduction kind of thing, they literally show with him getting bored on the plane and him being knackered and being repetitive and falling asleep in front of his sexy wife. Yeah. That's literally the explanation that he gives to why he wants to do something different, right? And why he's actually jumping at the chance to do something a bit more exciting.
Fast living, fast fucking, mate.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to take a quick diversion to the whole inspired by true events based on a true story thing, which I think is kind of a production, scripty kind of written thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm putting it here. So Liman himself described the film as a fun lie based on a true story.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fucking good description.
Yeah.
If you want to fight any criticism of it, describing it yourself as that is pretty bang on. And I found it interesting that you have those two things, at the start. It's either based on a true story or it's inspired by true events. And I was like, I wonder where the cutoff is, where you go, oh, we can't really say it's based on a true story now. This is just inspired by true events, and whether you have to like use different character names or something, or if what it is that is that cutoff for it. But what I found strange is that the end credits I actually stayed all the way to the end credits for this, and it says the characters and events depicted in this photoplay are fictitious. Any similarity to actual persons living or dead is purely coincidental.
Oh,
and
so they get sued, isn't it?
Yeah, and yes, we know that's not El Salvador, which I thought was quite nice.
I didn't see that.
But still strange if he's saying like it's based on a true story, but also they're all fictitious and not based on anything. It was like you've literally called him Pablo Escobar. I mean,
yeah. Well, did they say Escobar?
Yeah.
They say
definitely does.
Yeah, I think they at least say
definitely
Jorge
have pictures
Escobar,
of Ronald Reagan. It's definitely
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So it seems strange. But what are your thoughts on any criticism of it playing fast and loose with the facts or the truth of the story?
So in my original review, right, which was not a long review, I was obviously positive about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just put in, I said, well, it makes some extraordinary claims, which I haven't checked out. And if its artistic license has gone too far, then it would cheapen it a bit, right? And then I put, but ignorance is bliss.
Mm. Oh, no, you found out now.
Today, I came back to edit it. I put on the bend, I put edit. Turns out, a lot of it's not true. And it turns out, I don't
care. That's to be fair, I'm a kind of a similar opinion that actually I don't care, right? It's a movie.
Yeah.
If it's not setting out, which by its tone, it's not setting out
its tone. Yeah, that's the thing.
to be a documentary of it.
Yeah.
Even though the shaky cam suggests it maybe is. If it's not setting out to be factually accurate, if it's entertaining and it brings you into that fictional world,
yeah.
then I think it's fine. It's almost similar to Whiplash, I thought, that it doesn't really matter if it's not factually accurate, as long as it takes you with you. And just throwing it out there anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care to get into that, but I don't think that scans. I don't think that scans at all. But that's all I'll say on that. Yeah, I mean, the thing is with the whole based on a true story, I think you've got to take each thing. It's Simon's had a beer. What have you knocked over? I think you've got to take each sort of thing at its merits, because they could just not put anything. You're gonna make it up.
Well, that's what I want. That's what I wondered. Right? It's like, can they? Or if you have not changed the names of people and it is based on true, you have to say it's based on a true story.
But I kind of like telling you it's in a true story, because then you get to go, oh wow, imagine if something like this really happened, right? That's a nice feeling to be dragged along with. So then it becomes like, well, what happens when you find out it's cheating you? And I think what you've just said there, it's down to tone. Because if they get it right tonally, you go, oh, well, it clearly doesn't matter that obviously that's not how it unfolded. So I think it does add something when you think it's based on a true story. So I think that's the case for sort of not putting it at all. But then equally, if you don't get the tone right, or you're going for something different, and you've taken liberties, and that fundamentally changes story, that can definitely feel a bit like you've been cheated, because it didn't happen like that, you know?
Yeah, you made this very dramatic and it wasn't.
Yeah, like, or you've completely changed it.
And I was trying to think of an example of that, but there was nothing springing to mind immediately.
But you'll get stuff like historical figures, right?
Yeah.
And you go, well, you're now painting him in this light, but really the film, as events as you depicted, didn't happen like that. And if you played it out as they actually did, people would see him in a different light. And that can be, you can feel cheated a bit like that. Like you, I don't have an example.
But I wondered if, instead of saying at the start, if it came at the end, after you've experienced the story and you were like, oh, it seems a bit far-fetched, and then it comes up based on true story, you're like, oh. But I think you're right. I think it sets you up at the start, and I think actually that's probably works more effectively, doesn't it?
I think so. I'll come back to that, because one more thing on that. I don't like the Coen brothers when they put based on true events, or based on true,
or inspired by true events, or
But they're subverting that, because they are putting that on, and they have no intention of basing it on any true events, or they are being purposely quirky. And I've sort of grown tired a bit of the purposely quirky, so I don't like that as much. Anyway,
getting your Coen brothers dig in.
I know. Which I'm still not in a great place with, because there's a bit of me that still really wants. Yeah, I have disappointed myself. Yeah, yeah. So what you said, putting it at the end, and you find out, versus being sort of taken along for the ride. I understand, especially in this case, why you would put it at the start, because there's something like the Mafia, when we talked about this, is something very romantic about the cartel. When they're called the cartel for a kickoff, they're not called gangs. Yep. Right? So, we see like Russian or Irish mobsters, and they are usually like thugs, or, we don't think to name their most famous bosses or whatever. But we've managed to create stories around the Mafia and also the cartel. So I understand why you would want to go, you recognise all these guys, Pablo? By the way, a lot of this actually happened. And I was like, whoa, this is interesting. So I get it. Why you put this up front. I think it really works.
Yeah, and I think the only danger, as you say, is when they play fast and loose with the truth, but actually it becomes so popular that actually people, that's how they view those historical events, right? Yeah, it's through that lens of that film. This film doesn't have that problem for a number of reasons. One, it wasn't that successful. Nobody knows about it as well. And two, because of the tone, I don't think people take it necessarily seriously too. The only other thing I wanted to talk about, Carl, with the production is the score, or music more than score.
Oh, yes.
It's a never-ending electric guitar solos.
Yeah, fucking love it, mate.
It's just
absolutely.
I was actually listening for a minute. It was just literally constant for about 5 minutes.
Well, so the whole thing is a period piece, right?
Yeah.
And the 70s vibe, late 70s, early 80s,
into the 80s,
so cool in the opening bit of the music when he's taking this plane for a spin. He's getting shot at. Then we get an amazing scene where he's flying out with the mountains behind over the river or the lake or whatever, and it's just got, like you say, that cool 70s, 80s guitar music going on. Get back to his apartment, which is so, like, unbelievably 70s. And you've just got loads of those little things where you go, oh, yeah, this is different. I don't remember the 70s. I wasn't born in it. But, you can sort of look back and you go, oh, yeah, things were different, weren't they? It's not like today. I always like, when you look at grainy photographs.
Yeah.
And maybe they've got that slight sepia tinge because that's just how cameras were in the day. They look so much more romantic than today's old photographs. Yeah. So when I was a kid in the 90s, you might look at a 70s photo. It seems like another world.
Yeah. If
I'm looking at, that's only 20 years difference. If I'm looking at a photo from 2005, it's the same.
Yeah.
And it's like, because like technology's pretty much the same.
I think the 90s was the last time where you actually can go like, oh.
Yeah. So it's got all of that sort of cool 70s vibe to it. And there's a really good bit where he's changing the camera in his plane, like while he's flying. And he's pulling out this cardboard thing, and it's a cartridge that he's got to slot in.
Oh, right, yeah.
You don't need to show that. But it's just another detail where they go, it's the 70s, isn't it, mate? Things were different back then. And I love that stuff.
It's not getting uploaded to the cloud.
No, exactly. I love that stuff. It really sucks you into, like, another world.
Yeah, I was listening to the
like
music.
you say, the music's a big part of that.
Yeah, it's not something I necessarily noticed the first time round actively, but then, trying to poke holes in this fucker. And
it's difficult, isn't it, mate?
But
it's difficult when a film sets out to be fun and it's really good at it.
But I was listening. When I was listening to it, I was like, it fucking cements it in the bloody time it's set, doesn't it? The bastards.
Yeah, it does. It does. They've done really well with that.
You got anything else on production you want to talk about?
Not too much. I've already mentioned the Forrest Gump vibes.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah. It's under 2 hours, which really, really fits with... I mean, you've already mentioned he's making popcorn films, and which really, really fits with the fast-paced, sort of light-hearted vibe to this. It's very good. I just generally, and again, this comes back to the big TC, Barry Seal. I mean, he's called Barry, but yet somehow he's just so cool.
It's the most abnormal Barry you'll ever see.
When Pablo Escobar's calling him again, Barry! Like,
Are you just like, yeah.
And there's just loads of competency porn. He's got that air of invincibility. I know he eventually gets offed, but loads of that brash coolness. I love the way, like, I think you touched on this as well, something bad happens and he just goes, fuck it, we'll figure it out. Like, oh, what's that? You've got the right plane to catch up with now. I'll just land on the fucking highway. Thank you. Not a problem. So, yeah, really, really...
Barely an inconvenience at all.
Really, really cool, and such a good marriage with Tom Cruise, I think.
Do you want to play a game?
I'd love to play a game.
Oh, okay, so this is, as a reminder, American Made Up, okay? It's a return of... Oh, shit, actually, we need to pause because you need to get the shit in place.
Oh, yeah.
And we're back. So now Carl actually has the instructions so he can play the game successfully. So this is a little bit of a retread of a previous game we played in one of our Christmas episodes. It's called American Made Up. It's a movie reveal game. So specifically, this is for movies that were inspired by true events or based on a true story, in inverted commas. And most importantly, movies I know you and the wider world are familiar with.
Right.
So you are definitely going to know all of these films, as is everyone else.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind when you're guessing.
Yeah.
I've not gone obscure.
Jurassic Park, American Made Up.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So
that sort of thing.
How it works, just as a reminder, Carl has in front of him a number of different categories that he can pick, each worth a different number of points. He starts with 100 points. The more clues he needs, the lower the points he gets. His aim is to try and guess the movie in as fewer guesses or with the lowest points possible. So he ends with the highest points total he can. And at each points level, there's a little description of the of what he achieves. And
little insult usually.
a little bit. So I've got 4 of these, Carl, because you enjoyed it so much last time.
I did enjoy it, yeah.
That, and we'll crack through these 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, or 4. You can pick where you want to start. What number do you want to go? Number, you're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's arbitrary, isn't it? It's like a deal or no deal. Start at the left and work your way through. It is completely arbitrary. None of this, I've got a feeling about box 6.
Oh, 21's looking at me.
Yeah. You can grow up.
You know what I saw an advert for the other day? This is a bit of a sidebar. Deal or no deal, The Island. In America, obviously.
Yeah. What's that, for food or something?
I don't know. It's basically twats on an island. There's some sort of where you have to pick boxes.
You had some rice, but the bank is offering you a roast dinner. I don't know what's going on.
Roast dinner every time. No, anyway, right. So, movie number 1. Where do you want to start from, Carl? So you've got choice of, just to run people through it, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, director, writer, genre, Oscar wins, release year, duration, Letterboxd rating, critics score, Carl's rating.
So these are all movies that have been based on a true story /
Inspired
by true events. Yeah. Right, okay. Right, well, we go with director first. That's a solid 15 points. Yeah, it's worth it.
Ron Howard.
Right. Okay. Ooh. That's a problem, because there's 2. There's 2 I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, there'll be loads.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Howard's quite ripe for the old
Okay, let's go actor 2.
Bill Paxton.
Oh, no, it was my first thought as well. It's 25 for a wrong guess. What else could I get that would narrow it down without saying actor 1? We could do year, but that's 10 points. No, fuck it. Let's go Apollo 13.
It's Apollo 13. Yeah. Well done.
Right.
So you scored yourself 75 out of 100 for that one. That rating, Carl, that gets you Maid Marian.
Right, yeah, because American Made. Very good. Yeah. What's the top bracket?
So the top bracket, if you got it right,
above how many points do I need for the top bracket?
90.
90.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So
so it's just
actor
2 5s or a 10 really. That's all you've got.
Yeah, what can I do for 5s?
Are you going for that? Are you going number 2 next?
3, yeah, number 2. Yeah.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
So,
you say it's arbitrary.
Let's go. Let's go actor 3.
Jennifer Connelly.
Okay. Yeah. So, would she be third billing? Yeah, of course she would. She's a woman. Hollywood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think I've got one in mind, but let's. I can spend another 5 and still finish in the top bracket. Let's go for... Oh, do I remember the duration of it? Probably not. Oscar wins. Do I remember that? Probably not. Let's go for genre.
Genre. Okay, so I'm going to give you the top 3 genre that are listed. So, docudrama.
Yeah.
Period drama.
Yeah.
Psychological drama.
Yes, it's a beautiful mind.
It is a beautiful mind. 90 points for Carlos. Well done. That scores you French Maid.
Ooh, saucy.
Well done. Okay, next one then. Where do you want to start?
Well, number 3, obviously. And let's go for actor 3 again.
It's a good choice. Margot Robbie.
Ah, right. We know number 1 is. We know number 2 is. Okay, and I think genre might help us here. Oh, hang on a minute. Writer. Give me the writer.
Oh, it's a good choice.
Yeah,
it's a very good choice.
Yeah, baby.
Terence Winter.
Yes.
Doesn't help you.
Yeah, no, well, yes, but who did he write it with?
Jordan Belfort.
It's The Wolf of Wall Street.
It is. Well done. So that is another 90 pointer. French Maid. Well done. He's on fire. You've already...
I'll mix it up and go for number 4 now, I think.
Well done. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, number 4, where are you going to start?
Well, look, I see no other reason to go with anything other than actor 3.
Christopher Walken.
Right, Christopher Walken. Based on true events. Let's have a think. It's not Pulp Fiction. Right, that he's third in the billing off. That's a tricky one, isn't it?
It's not the most helpful.
That's a tricky one. Okay, I think we'll have to go genre.
Okay. Caper, coming of age, docudrama.
Ooh. Well, I'm glad that happened, because that is Catch Me If You Can.
It is Catch Me If You Can.
Yes,
Very
there we
good. Right, another French-made scoring. Well done. Just to reveal the other scoring, so the top score is French-made, then Maid Marian,
Yeah.
then Made in Manhattan, then Minute Maid,
Yeah.
and then Made Right Tit of Yourself there.
Yeah, yes, very good, very good, very good. Of course, I wouldn't be in need of any of that.
Very good. You cracked that one. Well done. All right, let's move on to the plot. And this leads me on to my third and final question, Carl, to determine why Carl loves this movie quite so much. Mm-hmm. Is this depicting a life that you wish to lead? Is this the answer to the mailbag questions that you refuse to answer or are unable to answer? Do you want to be the gringo who always delivers? Do you want to fuck on a plane, speak broken Spanish while supporting rebels from faraway countries, all for the love and loyalty of your country?
I already speak broken Spanish, and I really wish I didn't. I wish I spoke fluent Spanish.
You know the best way to improve your Spanish?
Yes, practice.
I was going to say deliver drugs for the cartel. But that's fine. Yeah. Practice is good too, yes.
I don't want to fuck on a plane. I think that's incredibly inconvenient and uncomfortable.
Even in 0G. He wasn't doing a lot of work.
How'd you get your purchase? Anyway, I mean, the flying about, yeah. I think the moral dilemmas it throws up, I'm not a fan of. And he does eventually get killed, and therefore, wouldn't see the kids again. So, but I think,
maybe not 46 as Barry, the real Barry.
Exactly. Like, I don't know how old these kids were. They're still quite young, let's say 12 or something like that. I hope to get a bit further down the track with them. I mean,
you have got to see how much you fucked them up, to be fair. You do want to see the end result.
No, check out just before the results really kick in, I guess.
The results are really
enjoy the good times. Yeah. Check out, but yeah. It looks fun, but no, I don't.
So it didn't answer? Doesn't answer the question?
I don't think so.
Fair enough. Okay, on to the plot proper then. So we've kind of said already, it's a pretty great story in terms of how fucking mental it is.
Well, my first note is, yeah, boy, what a hoot.
It's a hoot. Yeah, very entertaining. Particularly good first 45, I thought, as well. Really, as we said, it throws you into it, straight into the action. It's
again
kind of
like
non-stop.
Casino with the voiceover and the set piece before it then sort of slows down.
Unfortunately, the second half isn't quite as
well, you thought so
long.
There's
this one. So the one thing that obviously holds this back, but not if through a lens of it's just a light bit of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is zero character development. Like Barry is pretty much just Barry throughout. As you say, he's basically like, whenever something comes up, he's just like figure it out.
Yeah,
and he just kind of blindly goes through without
it's not
any
a character piece.
No, it's not. He's basically the same throughout it. And I think it's a way that he could have, if they wanted to escalate it, which isn't really Liman's style, but if they wanted to elevate it, sorry, not escalate it, if they wanted to elevate it to show and give crews a bit of meat to do with the go on a transformative journey, could have been the way to do it. But what was that going to do? Add length?
Yeah. And I've got a similar note down. If you look at the time they cover and the events they cover, you can't do that justice seriously in one film. You can't do it. So you're going to do a silly 3-hour-long film, and it's probably still not going to get to where it perhaps needs to be, or you're going to have to give focus to one particular event. And that's not what they're doing. They're just going, no, this is just a ride. We're giving you the headlines. Isn't this fun?
Indeed. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I've mentioned competency porn. I love his sort of something bad happens and fuck it, I'll just land the plane on the highway if I have to. Mentioned the romanticism about the cartels already.
Yep.
I think in Cast I mentioned him being resourceful. He asked for more money and Schaefer's just like,
You'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. And that is just the tone of this plot through and through. It's like it's built a world really well in terms of showing you all that like nostalgia bit and how things are different and the newsreels and all the rest of it. We're in the 70s and 80s. It's a different world. It's built a world. It's dragged you in, and it's gonna pull you along. And with Barry and Barry's approach to it, it's selling you this idea that like anything's possible. It's just so much fun. So yeah.
When you say Barry, not sexy.
No. No, it isn't. Yeah.
Barry's work.
Barry.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really neat moments as you go through. So it's fun. They've got so much money they don't know what to do with it. Literally burying it and digging up money you've already
and he has
buried.
That bit where he's talking to the camera and he's just like,
Who
thought that would be a
problem?
Like,
You know what I spotted, which I don't think enough people do? Mini golf in the garden.
oh yeah,
Get yourself a mini
Get
golf
yourself
course.
some mini golf. Yeah,
Why is that not more of a thing?
I could fit.
I know. I reckon I can get 3 holes in. Like, love a bit of mini golf.
Yeah, that's good. The kids don't like mini golf.
Yeah, make it challenging as well, not like a dead simple one, like with proper, contours.
No, summer project now.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of nice moments. There's you give them the maximum amount of crews doing cruisy things with the stunts. So the plane chases, the fast versus slow, very Catch Me If You Can vibes.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah,
throughout.
that's a good comparison.
Yeah, we'll come to that. When the guy was asleep at the wheel of the plane. Is it a wheel?
It's a yoke, really, but
Yeah. Sleep at the yoke. Doesn't really work.
No.
Sleep at the wheel and just doing the little tap,
yeah.
tap on
Oh,
it.
I'll go get him.
Yeah, which he clearly did.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Which he obviously did.
Yeah.
Landing on the street, as you say, covered in coke,
yeah.
bribing the kids for his bike,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
rides a little BMX off into the sunset.
Yeah.
When JB gets invited, doesn't get invited. When he comes into the thing, and it's basically just like a spanner in the works,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's right.
They're kind of functioning in a non-functional way, but here comes a dumbass to ruin everything.
Barry's just like, well, I could just give you some money.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, if he's here, he's going to work. He's like, oh, for God. All right, okay.
I think even the bits with the CIA in the CIA office, there's some quite fun bits there with the walking through the burn bags and sort of burn everything with his name, everything with his address, everything with his face on. One of my favourite bits, which is made up but worked very well, was the multi-agencies converging simultaneously on him.
Yeah, so I've got a note about this as well.
So obviously the DEA. So what was the agency? I didn't have a fucking clue what it was. Like the ATF or something like that. But then basically like the FBI arrive and they all go, oh fuck, like big eye roll. All of them. It's like, oh, daddy's here.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
So I've got to know about that because both from a storytelling perspective, and then like the sort of the execution of it and keeping it tonally consistent, right? So, that'll be made up. But what that's representing is going, there were multiple agencies after him for different reasons. And to your point about like if you're going to get serious, another film has to show
each of those separate incidents where he was getting arrested or taken in.
But what this has done is it's gone, well, fuck it, we'll just put them all in one. So you get this ridiculous scene where they all turn up. And what I like about that as well is they do that, and it's obviously silly, and it's overblown, and then they're all suddenly brought to a grinding halt when he goes, what about my phone call? I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then they've all got to wait out in the hall or whatever. And it doesn't stop there either, because then, of course, he goes straight to voicemail. It's like, right, you're back in the dock now. On you come. So, yeah, really sort of smart bit of storytelling that's tonally consistent with this film, I think. And I it's easy to go, well, that's a stupid scene. It's like, they're all stupid scenes. It just works.
Yeah, and I think that is it's probably part of it. Once you start to just accept the ride, lean into it, then some of those problems go away. back to the plot and the story of it, when he reaches the point where his only way out of it is to rig up the very obvious cameras in the plane, and smiling for them, and the shoot the gringos, scene makes the guy piss himself. So all good fun.
Yeah. So one of the things talking about 90s action movies, and I've said about how I think this is getting that vibe that 90s action movies had in spades, because it's big and serious, right? Because the stakes are very high. He's dealing with the cartel, people's lives are at stake, but at the same time, you never really feel that there's any danger. And I think about like 90s action movies. That was the same. Like, for all the stakes, Bruce Willis is going to save everyone in Die Hard. Right? You just know that's going to happen. You know Seagal's going to come through in Under Siege, and all that sort of thing. And that has that here. And again, I know he ultimately ends up getting offed right at the end, but it has that same sort of thing where the stakes are big, but we just know we've got our hero. He's as competent. He'll find a way. And it then becomes like really cool and fun, as opposed to sort of serious. And then they do that. There's a bit near the start when they're doing a montage of setting up all the businesses.
Yeah,
which again, just really fun. Living the high life, very cool. I thought it was very Scarface. That bit. And there's all these sort of like little nods and winks to the audience. Because obviously the guy he's hiring to do the business, he's not suitable for the position, but it's like, yeah, you're ready for a management role kind of thing. Which is silly. I love the bit where talking about living the high life, when he gets put back on the road, back in business after he's been arrested, and he gets that massive transport plane. The way he just rocks back up to the airfield with a big shit-eating grin behind the thing to his buddy. It's like, yeah, look, new toys. Like, yeah, just really cool. Just sort of brash coolness all the way through.
Yeah, and I think fair play for the ending, right? Because it's a pretty downer ending. Because
he's been killed.
He gets killed, and it literally just ends.
But then we're just like, Iran. Yeah, we'll get Iran to arm the Contras. Yeah, like, I was like, oh, and so it goes on. Yeah, like we're just
exactly. I thought one of the sort of funnest little sequences was when he was doing his Salvation Army thing into the hotels, and he's scared the first time he starts his car, and he gets everyone to clear out. He's like,
I liked that as well.
I'm just starting my car. Can you just? Yeah, I just want to start my car. Mm-hmm. And then just doing that every time. I like that as well. The last time
you've had a moment where
with JB.
Well, you've had that bit.
Blown up. Yeah.
There's a bit in the middle where Pablo tells him to get it fucking done and all this shit. Like the tone's just shifted a little bit, and it's like, oh no, this could go really wrong at this point. But it manages to stay light, and it's him doing exactly those sorts of things. Like, you might want to move your van too. Actually, yeah, it's just for your safety. Just like,
yeah.
But yeah, it just manages to stay light. It's very good.
But yeah, I've not really got any criticism of the plot because it's a
it's a ride, isn't it?
Pretty entertaining story. Yeah,
yeah, it's a ride.
You got anything more you wanna?
I think, mate. I think that is.
Alrighty.
I think that's all I've got as well.
Okay, we move on to any changes. So a section where we each come up with up to 3 changes. Carl, what's your change?
I've got one. So I want more cartel and less back home shenanigans.
Okay. How much back home shenanigans is there?
There's a bit with JB, which is sort of leads to sort of his undoing, and this is probably it. Just really like the cartel bits.
Do you want more cartel, basically?
Yeah, I think so.
More or less that at home. Just
stick another half an hour, and I'm good for it. I don't mind. I'd watch 2.5 hours of this. Yeah.
Fair enough. So I've only got one as well, and I think I'm kind of torn on it because ditching the shaky cam or steady cam, as you want to call it, because you're not going for the realism as it is, and although maybe that is a necessity because of actually how it's produced, which is you're in small cockpits and stuff, so you're going to need the old Steadicam. You're in small areas. It's probably fucking cheaper to do the old Steadicam than it is to get the old dolly set up and do all of that way. You can just go in with the camera. I don't know, making this up. So maybe
we don't know what we're talking about.
Maybe just keep the shaky cam. Cut out the weird zooms. The weird random zooms in for no apparent reason onto the White House and the Pentagon and the faces and stuff like that.
You sound like Frank, what's his name, out of Harry Enfield.
Frank, what's his name?
Yeah, you know the guy who sits in the pub and goes, if I should happen to meet Doug Liman, I would say, I admire what you did with the Bourne Identity and keeping it light and your use of shaky cam, and that carries through to all your other films. So when you start zooming in and out, I should say, oi! Yo! Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, that's all I've got.
Good. All right.
Week. Okay, this is why you're wrong. So a closing statement from each of us where we have the final chance to movie each other's needle. Carl, off you go.
Are you wrong? Probably not. But lighten up.
You've said this before.
I know, I said this last week as well. So in all seriousness, the tone of this film, you're going to find it fun, or you're not going to find it fun. If you go with it, I think it's really good. You can sit and pull it apart and say, well, that's a bit silly, this isn't really how it happened. And, none of that's wrong. It's just not for you. I think you maybe are wrong on the shaky cam, the steady cam, shaky cam, because I think that works really well to pull you along on what is a wild ride. But it is a wild ride and it's lots of fun.
Good stuff. So, seeing Cruise play a morally dubious character, it's fun. There's absolutely no depth or character development for anyone. Does that matter? No. I don't think it does. You're treating this as a fun adventure movie, almost light, carries along very nicely. Yes, I had a little bit of problem with the shaky cam, but less so on actual the rewatch of it. Yeah, there's some exaggerated stuff. Does that matter? Maybe means it doesn't hit the heights of actual quality cinema. But look, if you are treating this as a hour 45 minutes of fun, light, entertaining stuff,
which you should.
I think I am wrong. I think
I think that too.
I think I'm wrong, and I think actually, on second watch, I'm a little bit upset that this hasn't got a little bit of a wider audience, little bit of love.
Yeah, deserves it.
So has my needle been moved? Yes. I think I'm on a like. It's a solid like. I think I'm there.
Like.
I was
Which
struggling.
way on the other axis are you going? The Z-axis.
Oh yeah, let's. How girthy is the?
So we're not going up to very like. But what's the girth on this like?
Oh yeah, I mean, not. Yeah, I was probably more ambivalent than I am a like on it, but yeah, it's a good 45-degree
angle. You said
angle.
solid like, so we know it's not floppy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a 45-degree angle from a deep ambivalence to a solid like. Yeah, 45-degree. But if you're thinking from that dimension,
from the up. You take that. That's rock solid.
Yeah,
Yeah. I thought if you're going from bottom up, that's a bit.
No, doing just there. So it was there. It's there. Yeah. It's very helpful for the audio listeners.
Yeah, I mean, mate, it doesn't make any sense anyway. So
the important thing to note is that
it's a like.
Yeah, my needle has been moved.
Good.
Okay, let's finish things off with the data section. And we start, as we always do, with the ratings. IMDb, 7.1. It's right in the pocket of mediocrity / stuff that just gets left in the background. Letterboxd, 3.4, very similar. Metascore, 65, again, right in the area. Simon, 3, right in the same vicinity there. No, I think 3 is actually, that's how I rated it originally, and that was pre my reevaluation of my scale a little bit. Mm-hmm. So actually on
so it's going down now.
No. But actually, if you reevaluate, that probably would have been more like a 2 on the thing. So actually, I'm keeping it at a 3 because I think a 3 is actually probably right where it needs to be. It's not spectacular, it's not amazing, but it's entertaining stuff that I would recommend to someone to watch for a good little Friday night film. Carl, your rating?
Yeah, so I originally rated this 4.5. Now, I really like it, but I was going to come down on that rating because, trying to separate out, but how actually good is it? But for what you've just said, would I recommend this to someone? Like definitely. For what this is going for, I just think it's absolutely nailing it. So I'm going to stick at 4.5.
Yeah, it's interesting because you go if you're putting it against its peers in its genre and its style, right? You go, well, it's a great example of this kind of movie.
And I'm sure I've contradicted myself at some point when I sort of look at my entire movie pool of ratings.
Yeah,
but it feels like I'm just not picking it up on much, so 4.5 feels about right.
Godfather Part 2, American Made.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I'm pretty sure this scores higher than Godfather and Godfather Part 2, which is insane.
It doesn't.
Like, that's obviously wrong. But for I'm sat here right now going, what do I think this is doing? Is it doing a good job? I'm going, yeah, it's doing a great job. 4.5 feels okay.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, insane. But there you go. There we have it. I mean, I've maintained throughout this that ratings are meaningless and nobody should listen to anybody else's opinion, least of all ours. There you have it.
But please do listen, or at least even just put it on mute and just play it. Yeah. That's fine too. Okay, nominations. Amazing, right. So you know how movies get nominated for literally all these fucking weird awards that don't really exist. They're just made up things, right?
Yeah, I mean, all awards are made up, Simon.
Yeah. But there'll be the West Country Transvestites Awards for Best Movie, for example.
Transvestites, anything you want to get off your chest there? Any weekend practices?
No, I'll be putting stuff on my chest, if anything. Yeah. But this has got 3 nominations in total, which is just very rare.
Can't catch a break.
It's just very rare to see.
Nobody fucking knows about it.
That's what I mean. That's why it's just, considering how common it is to be nominated for every 2-bit award, it's amazing. It's literally just got 3 nominations. I think it's just completely been. I'd never heard of it before. You told me to watch it, basically. It's very odd.
Yeah,
it's very odd. Anyway, rewatchability.
Oh, it's a very yes.
I mean, it's a solid yes move into a very yes, I think, for me, because it's just. It is I think you can watch this. It's a Friday night film. I use that. I banded that about a fair bit, where it's just like, it's a Friday night film. I couldn't explain exactly what that means, but it's basically like you're looking for something you don't really.
I mean, you can't explain a lot, to be fair.
But yeah, fair enough. But yes. Best scene then, Carl. What have you got for me?
I think you've mentioned it already. It is the Bob fell asleep scene.
Oh, with the little tap on the wings.
They eventually outruns the wrong word. They outlast the feds or whatever they are. And then they go, right, come on, it's time to head for Bob's fallen asleep.
Now, you know what I was surprised with that scene? Nicely surprised. Is that there was no drama added to that whatsoever. There was no, he's about to crash into an oil rig. Yeah. Quick, wake him up. It was just like, no, dopey Bob. He's always fucking falling asleep.
He can fall asleep anywhere, that bloke.
If you go, it was so pointless in the nicest possible way. But it was just it didn't add anything to the story. It was just that was it. So I did enjoy the little scene of the mums at the baseball game. One of them bringing oranges, and then Lucy brings in pizzas for everyone, just completely flashing the cash. I did quite appreciate that. But the scene that was my favourite was when he was first taking off from the Medellin, where running the Coke with the short runway, and
they're all betting on it.
They're all betting on it.
Yeah,
and he tells the guy, that guy's fat as fuck.
Yeah,
get him out. That whole scene was very fun. You always knew he was gonna make it. But I thought Cruise did well in that as well. Quote.
You've just misquoted it. Because my favourite quote
that guy's fatter than fuck.
Yeah. This guy's fatter than fuck. And then the very next shot is him just waddling out past the end of the play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed How Much is a Kilo? Americans. It's just like,
yeah.
what?
That's right.
What is that?
There was another call out to Americans not quite knowing their geography when he was doing the map bit and they crossed out Nicaragua.
Yeah, that's not Nicaragua. No,
they're not there. No, it's further down. Yeah, there was a couple of bits like that, which again is very in keeping with the whole. Oh fuck! What a mess all this is.
Yeah, this guy's fat and fat. That was good. When he gets, he's kind of getting prosecuted, and he basically gets 1,000 hours of community service. And he's like, so I'm walking out of here now.
So I'm free to leave. Yeah.
Do I have to go?
Yeah, I have to.
But my favourite one is Pablo Escobar going, "Get it fucking done."
Get it fucking done.
It's such a weird accent that it comes out as. It's great.
That is how Spanish people say fucking, though. It's weird. Yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that. Favourite character?
And he was actually Colombian, the actor that played.
Was he?
Pablo
Nice.
as well, yeah.
Wouldn't have expected it.
So Jorge was Mexican. Pablo was Colombian, and then the other guy, who I can never remember the name of.
No, always the third.
He's
one.
Colombian as well, yeah. Okay. So.
Fair play.
Yes,
Favourite character?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it's Slim Pickens because it's so.
Is that your
much,
nickname for Schaefer?
But my favourite character is Schaefer because he's a very good character.
Yeah, same.
There
is not a lot else to go out there unless you're going for Escobar or Jorge.
Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, on the surfboard, Bob. Is that the one on the surfboard?
Yeah, who ends up. He's the one that falls asleep, and he's the one where the guns are crashing through his plane at the end, and no, I mean Pablo was good. It was quite fun, but yeah, they don't impress themselves the same way Schaefer does.
Right. So we have now dropped Jerker. We've dropped Tearjerker.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going on to now, Carl, is what movie is this a hybrid of? All right. Now I came up with an answer. But
okay.
From your description, I've modified it.
All right. So I've got two things here, right? Because we're trying to build. We want to get a list of these hybrids going, right?
Yeah. So when we're talking about hybrid, we're saying if we're crossing two films together, if two films were to get kinky and produce some offspring, what would they produce?
Yeah. So we want to build up a list, and it'd be really cool if we can build up not just a chain but a pyramid. Right? But let's worry about that later. Yeah, we're just concerned in building up a list of this.
As with always on this podcast.
Oh yeah, we'll do it later.
We've got grand ideas that will never come off.
Yeah. So I've got an idea for this, but I've also got a completely separate hybrid that I've come up with as well.
Okay.
So we can try it to the list.
It's been working in the lab.
Yeah. So my one for this. And you could go a couple of ways with this. I've got to put Forrest Gump in there. I think the delivery
this was
of
the
it.
addition that since you were talking about it that I added in.
I've got to put Forrest Gump. Now, I toyed with sort of Casino because again it's got the voiceover, but Forrest Gump has a voiceover. It's got the very
tonally it's right.
Yeah. So what I've gone for is Forrest Gump crossed with Scarface.
Interesting.
Because you've got the sort of rise to riches, high living thing that ultimately comes undone.
Now, are we limiting ourselves to two?
I think we've
Can we have a hybrid?
I think we've got to, because the pyramid won't work.
Tribrid?
If you go in, no, I think we've got to have two.
Because I originally had Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, which is a good shout.
Crossed with Wolf of Wall Street for the coke and the excess and that side of things.
I mean, I think
Wolf of Wall Street is the weak link there.
Yeah.
You could have Blow, again, but that's more for the drugs. But there's no taking of drugs in this. It's literally just a transportation.
Yeah.
So I was going with Forrest Gump crossed with Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, I think that's good.
And I think that does actually blend the two things. You've got the style, you've got the lightness. Catch Me If You Can is a very consumable
I'm
movie.
happy to go with that.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's add that to the list.
Add it to the list. There we go.
So we've got two, because we've got Forrest Gump with Catch Me If You Can gets you to American Made.
Yep.
We've also got last week's, which was Superbad crossed with, what film did we do last week?
Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass. Shit, what was with Superbad? Superbad crossed with what? What were they doing?
I can't remember.
What were they doing?
I'll have to listen back. Oh, Jesus.
Shoot 'em up.
Shoot 'em up. That was it.
Superbad crossed with Shoot 'em up gets you to Kick-Ass.
Yeah, which is a good shout.
I got a completely unrelated one. So I think.
What do you mean unrelated?
So I've just picked two films now.
Right.
I'm just trying to build the list up here.
Oh, so not this film.
Not this film. No.
Okay, so you've just picked two
Yeah.
films. Okay,
so let's see if we can get a third on the list. See what you think of this. So I'm going with Another Round.
Okay.
Cross with Swingers.
Okay.
Gets you to Sideways.
So we've got drinking.
So we've got
Swingers.
the road trip /
You've got the buddy
bromance thing of
yeah.
Swingers. And then Another Round, you've got the midlife crisis / obviously drinking, alcoholism.
Yeah, okay.
And that is going to get you to Sideways.
Yeah. I mean, I think I might have to rewatch Sideways. It's on my list to rewatch.
Love Sideways. Love Sideways.
But yeah, like I think that's a decent start.
Good. Right, we'll add that in as well. So we've got 3.
We'll add it to this fictional list that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, so we now move on to our top 3. Standard. This is normal, folks. You don't need to panic. For those who don't like change, you're back on safe ground. You're okay. We're saving our top 3 Tom Cruise for another day. He will reappear. Tom Cruise will return to the Movie the Needle podcast. Top 3 Doug Liman directed movies, Carl. Now, we've talked a bit of Doug Liman.
Yeah.
A couple of times, as we said. We've kind of covered his movies already within this episode. Have you got a firm top 3? Happy with a 3-2-1?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I've got a couple of honourable mentions as well.
Okay, go on. What just missed out?
Now, disclaimer on this first one, because I haven't seen it in a long time. It could be a steaming
Garbage.
pile of shit, but it's Mr. and Mrs.
Same.
Smith.
Yeah, exactly the same. I was like, this... I remember watching that at cinema as a... Fuck knows when it came out. Probably a teenager. I don't know. Early 20s maybe. I don't know. But enjoyable.
Yeah.
Liked it. 2 stars. At the peak of their powers, pretty much, as well, as they were they got together on that movie, right? So it's kind of built all that up.
was.
Yeah. Cost them a lot of money. But again, could rewatch that. Could be awful. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. But my other honourable mention I'm much more confident in, and that is the Bourne Identity.
Oh, okay. So that's made my list, so that's interesting. Okay. All right, let's start at number 3 then.
My number 3, I've already mentioned it. Swingers.
Yeah. Same for me. Yeah, number 3 is Swingers. I've only seen it once. So again, might be due a rewatch, but that film is money.
Money. Yeah, absolutely.
Number 2 then, Carl.
Oh, now. So this is where you're going Bourne Identity, but I'm going Edge of Tomorrow.
You're putting this as number 1. Okay.
Yeah,
all right, that's not really a mystery.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I went Bourne Identity for this one.
You're
Again, I've not rewatched the Bournes for a number of years.
I have.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
Good.
But I can't imagine it falling down the pecking order.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy. I'm comfortable with that. So number 1 is Edge of Tomorrow for me.
Yeah, and mine is this. It's American Made.
American Made. Yeah. I mean, I do want to watch Edge of Tomorrow again because I feel like I'm building this up in my head to be greater than maybe what it is.
Oh, I think it's good, man.
Yeah, well, I do think it's good as well. But I'm a bit concerned that I am building this every time I talk about it because it keeps on coming up. We've talked about Tom Cruise a lot. We've talked about Emily Blunt a lot. We've talked about Doug Liman a couple of times. This movie has been talked about a lot. They're making the sequel.
Yeah.
It was a movie I wanted a sequel for.
I don't know anyone who's watched it and doesn't like it.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout.
Yeah.
So there we go. Okay, that's the top 3. So Doug Liman gaps, just so you know. So Go, not seen it. Lockdown, not seen it. The Instigators, not seen it. The Wall, not seen it. Chaos Walking, not seen it.
Yeah, same. I haven't seen it.
Don't know what it is. Guess what didn't make the list, Carl?
Well, not the Bourne Supremacy because it's only the executive producer on this. American Made.
Roadhouse. And American Made didn't make it.
Yes, of course, Roadhouse didn't make
American Made
list.
would probably just be the missed out. It might even overtake Swingers, but I've not seen Swingers for a while, so it might be a bit unfair. But it would kind of join Mr. and Mrs. Smith as an enjoyable romp. But yeah, Roadhouse can fuck right off. Okay. So, Carl, this is where we move to the Movie the Needle Classics Collection. I feel like we need a different theme, little.
Yeah, what would you have?
I don't know, the 20th Century Fox
fanfare.
fanfare.
I was going to say it needs to be something like that. Like,
Some sort of fanfare.
Yeah.
So, we mentioned this in the last episode, something that we were kind of shooting around a little bit, firing around the options of. The thinking is here that each episode, we will each come with a submission.
I like that. Yeah, we will each come
come
with a submission. Yeah, that's good.
I like coming. I like submission. Oh shit! Said that out loud. So we're going to each submit a film for our consideration, and we both have to agree for it to make the classics collection.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, we can't just go on gut feeling here. We need a criteria.
Yes.
A criterion collection, you could call it.
Yeah, I think you just say criteria. I think for that. That's the word for that. Yeah. So we wrote some criteria down, and I've got them here. So we did say it doesn't necessarily have to be nice to look at, and it might feel nice, but the actual criteria is penetrating. It's got to penetrate the zeitgeist. It's got to have made an impact, right? Longevity.
Yep.
We want stamina.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It didn't just made an impact, it's still kicking around
Still
people.
going.
Yeah, it's
Still
still
going.
there. So it's made an impression and a lasting impression. And then we want, to a degree, it needs to have broad appeal. These are classics we're talking about. It's got to be girthy, yeah.
Girthy, yeah.
So no cult classics here. It's got to be, even if people haven't seen it, they're very aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, we threw out the with the penetration of the zeitgeist. Does your mum need to know about this? Or maybe not your mum, but maybe someone who's not a mad film fan, but they'll be aware of this movie.
Yeah.
They may have even seen it.
I think we said it doesn't need to be bold. We don't need to worry about if it had big balls.
Yeah,
that's not as important.
No, that's fine.
It's all about the penetration. I mean, I would say I don't know about the stamina of it, that lasting impression. Girthy is arguably more important.
People say that is the most important.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So that broad appeal.
Indeed. So that brings us to our first submission, Carl. So do you want to go first with the film you're bringing?
Well, let's
to the
just
table?
touch on. You have added a film to the list, haven't you already?
Oh, so we started off. I've started a list on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
You can find it under SiMTN. We haven't figured out quite how to tag both of us to this yet.
Yeah.
So
I suppose I could just duplicate it. But...
You could, actually.
Yeah.
We'll probably just do that.
Yeah.
We'll probably just do two identical lists on both of our profiles.
It's easiest, isn't it?
And we started with a movie we've covered on the podcast. One where there was a moving of the needle, if I remember correctly.
There was, yeah.
And I think it is a classic. If we're talking about all of those criteria, we think it meets all of them.
I would say so.
And that movie is Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Definitely some quotability there. That you've got the
no doubt it penetrated.
Yep.
It's got the
it's
stamina.
inspired other things as well.
Yeah.
It's
girthy.
Yep.
It's all there.
It's a classic.
It is.
It is the first movie into the Movie the Needle Classics collection.
Yeah. And I think, to be fair, the other thing we said is we'll also consider the film we're reviewing.
Yes.
Look, we're going to have to rule American Made out.
I don't think American Made makes it to the classics collection.
For sure it hasn't penetrated.
Well, definitely not, yeah. 100%.
And if you've not penetrated, your longevity, your stamina is irrelevant.
Yep. Go as long as you like. If you're not penetrated, no submission.
Yeah, it's just not, again...
I'm not going to come
irrelevant.
with you here if there's no penetration.
No.
Okay.
No. So we can rule it out. So I've got one, and I think this is a shoe-in. I can't see any problems slotting this in. I think this goes right in with no resistance. It's Jaws.
I mean, I can't really argue with that one, can I? Yep. You've got that. Yeah, you've got.
It's all there.
It's ticked the box. It's ticked the box. Yeah, I think it's in. It's in.
Jaws is in.
Jaws is on. Okay. Now, this one. Now, I don't know if it is controversial.
Ooh.
It might be controversial for you.
Okay.
We've covered it on the podcast.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
Quite early on.
I'm prepared for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Look, I'm perfectly willing to be the bigger man here. And yes, I don't like it. But it's only right that it does go in.
All right. So we've got three now. So we've got Apocalypse Now, Star Wars, and Jaws. They're on the list. They're in the first submissions to the Movie the Needle Classics collection. More will follow.
Yeah.
If you, dear viewers, would like to submit your ideas for what should be considered for a classics collection, no doubt soon we'll run out of ideas.
Oh, yeah.
So please do send them through. Let us know your thoughts. And
Yeah,
if you
definitely.
disagree with Apocalypse Now, Star Wars, or Jaws, well, fuck off. Firstly,
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. their opinion on what we decree as classics.
It's our bloody
I'm not
collection.
interested.
Deal
But
with
if they want to do some of the legwork and give us films to
That's fine, yeah.
to rule on, absolutely. Please send in your suggestions for classics.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I said it. Shit.
Yeah. You've said
Oh,
it lots.
no.
So have I.
Anyway, Carl, you got anything else for us?
Nope.
Well, that is all we have got. So if we did move the needle for you, or even if we didn't, please do rate us, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star review wherever you are listening. Actually do it, though. Don't just like listen to this and go, yeah. It really does dominate the algorithm and gets out there to a larger, kinkier audience. Our Bluesky, Instagram and Twitter is MTN MoviePod. Our YouTube channel is at Movie the Needle, and you can also find our page on Facebook and some occasional TikTok at movie.the.needle. All details are in the show description, so please follow and comment wherever you are. Please, please, please. So for me and Carl, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
Now, Carl, little story. As I was brainstorming some of these game ideas for the episode based on the word made, I came across a movie which I might have to watch. And this is obviously the much-needed sequel to the 2023 underrated classic Maid Droid. And the sequel is called Maid Droid Origins. Now, this is streaming on Prime Video, so I'm pretty sure it isn't porn. But it could definitely and should probably be porn. Yeah. So I will report back, dear listeners.
Yeah,
I will
good.
report back. Goodbye.